everybody? Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we're here on our Sunday morning slash afternoon tradition that has continued on into our 17th year here on bringing you week in and week out, except when we skip out a little bit in the off season of the NFL, on the off season of the NFL. But we are here. We're going to be bringing you a sooner or later. We're going to have him in the fine co-host of this program, Cuervo. We're going to get a little idea of when we're going to get ready to do the breakdowns of all the divisions of the NFL for this upcoming season here in 2026 and 2027. And by the time we get done with the NFL season, we will be here on air for 18 years. Holy cow. That's just, it's amazing how time flies. Or just if you're kind of like me, you don't kind of keep track of a lot of things before you know it, it's been forever. That having been said, of course, that's the name of the show. Let's bring him on in. He is not champion. He is the one, the only. Good morning, Podfather. Well, actually, afternoon, because that's where you're at, and we just kicked the afternoon. How you doing today?
No one can hear you when you're talking over my promo, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just so you know.
Well, now that I know.
Go ahead and say it again so we all can hear it. Go ahead.
All right, you must have heard it because you want me to say it again.
No, I heard the word go into it, but I mean, for those who need to be educated on who the hell I am, go ahead and tell them to the people in the back. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the not one, but two times bragging rights champion of the Pick'em game. The one, the only, is the Podfather. Good afternoon, Podfather. Always good to see you. I think. I don't know if that's actually true, if it's always good to see you, but at least you're here. So,
you have the Podfather here now.
Yeah, the Podfather.
Let everybody know just how great I am.
Yeah.
And how I'll be coming forward.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's the weekend, and we got school starting up here pretty soon for the kids. And I got to get my son enrolled tomorrow. So, yeah, it's going to be
He's going into high school, isn't he?
Yeah. He'll be a sophomore next year or this year.
Oh, crap. Holy cow. Sophomore. Geez, when I met him, he was nothing but about a fifth grader, but I guess he's been a little higher than that. But anyway, how's he doing, by the way? I saw that picture that you made. That was quite funny.
Yeah, no, he's been playing a lot of NBA 2K26, and he created himself on the game. And I was like, hey, I can do that too. So I did my magic with ChatGPT, and he's 6'6" on the game, and he's not 6'6" in real life yet, but we're getting there.
Now, do you pay for ChatGPT, or is there free? Is it free? I don't know anything about it, obviously, or I probably would have used it a long time ago.
You can do it for free and not be hit with, okay, we got to take some time to to let the image generator catch up to what you're wanting to do, or you can pay for it for like at a dirt cheap price, and then then you can have it unlimited for now. It comes with this share of problems because when LeBron James signed with the Sixers, which we'll get into later, boy, did ChatGPT have it's like, well, we're not sure if this is true or not. Well, here's an ESPN article. Yeah, okay. Well, then now the image generator is being backed up because the image I sent you of that took 2 days to do.
So which one was that one?
It was the one where
here's this one.
It took 2 days to do because their image generator would not let it go through.
Got it. Okay. All right. But now that is news. Now they can make the schedule. I The fact that they had to wait till this guy to do it to make the schedule just says a lot about what's wrong with the NBA anyway. But this just like it's icings on the cake as far as what
Well,
the NBA's product is being presented to us week after week and year after year.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Would David Stern have held up the NBA schedule for Michael Jordan?
No.
Would he held it up for Kobe Bryant?
No.
So
don't think so. Don't think so.
I mean, what's Adam Silver going to do when LeBron finally says, "Okay, I'm done"?
Well, they'll make the schedule as soon as the season's over. Because interestingly enough, if you think about it, let's just say he does his 2 years that he actually signed. It's a 2-year contract with Philly. Something tells me it might only be 1 year. But, it was actually quite funny, and I can't find the video anymore. But after LeBron signs with Philly, they cut ties with Bron's son, and he can't even get into the Laker building anymore. Playing for the minor league D League team. I found it funny, but also almost embarrassing, more so for the Lakers. They listen.
Them wasting a first-round pick on Bronny James.
Well,
it set that team back a little further than they wanted to be set back.
I would think so. And was he a first rounder, or did they actually do right and grab the thing or did they have 2 picks in the first round and then they grabbed him up? Can't remember.
No, they made him a first-round pick.
Well, anyway, I guess that's what happens when you got clout. But here's the thing about clout. It obviously didn't help the basketball team. It didn't help him. That being Ronnie, didn't help him at all. I don't understand why they named him after the quicker picker up, but it is what it is. But, they immediately locked the doors on this kid. And the embarrassment is number one, it seems like it's petty. I mean, they could have very easily let him know what the situation was before he got there and did everything. It's a little petty. And I don't have anything bad to say about Bron. And I'll tell you the reason why. It has nothing to do with him. This whole thing, as far as him, or what's he going to do? Not go to the Lakers? What's he not going to do? Take the money that the Lakers offer him? Is he not going to do that? So he just gets put into a situation where it's not a win-win. The only way it's a win-win is if he's successful, and unfortunately, he isn't necessarily successful as far as being an NBA player. The D League, I guess he's average, but at the same time, the idea of what the D League should be is that he is a minor league player. He should be able to gain and get the skills he needs to become an NBA player. Now the question is will he become a D League player for the Philadelphia 76ers squad? That I don't know. And it'll be interesting to know how that works. Do you know?
I have no clue. I have no idea what LeBron is bringing to the Sixers as far as his resources, if it were.
Yeah.
It's not so much for resource, but you mentioned the word petty, right? Petty's everywhere. I mean, whether it's in politics, sports, or in life in general, right? I mean, everybody finds a way to be petty about one thing or another. I look at what happened with the Lakers. Like, look, they were ready to move on. They found the guys they got. They had one guy who was kind of hanging on there for a little bit, and he was at the end of his rope, and they had to cut bait with him. And unfortunately, he came with baggage. And they cut bait. He divvied himself out and tried to figure out what's going to be the best landing place for a man of his talents, as it were. And hey, I mean, I remember up at work we were sitting there talking about will he go to Miami? Will he go to Golden State? I threw out the Sixers. I thought that'd be probably the better fit for him. Cavaliers was obviously him going back home. Um, I looked at the Miami thing and thought, well, if he went back there with Giannis, there's two people right there. That's it.
Yeah.
If he goes to Golden State, that's the oldest team in the league. If he goes back to Cleveland, unless he can bring back Kyrie Irving or somebody else to help him out with that team's in trouble. So the Sixers actually make a lot of sense. I mean, Boston could have been up there as well if they wanted to put up with it. But, he's going to a Northeast team. The Northeast media is probably more catered to his style, I guess. And, we'll see what happens. I mean, again, is he now 2 years, $8 million total? He might be a bench player for all we know. But is he? I mean, he might be. I don't know. I mean, because like some players find their niche of saying, "Look, I don't have the it factor to go the entire game, but I can come off the bench and be, and be a lightning rod for y'all." So we'll see. I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea what the Sixers got in place, and
Well, I'll tell you, they got a lot in place. This is a basketball. It's not how they when you look at a basketball team and you look at the starting lineup, and if you got three great players, you're in really good shape. Well, you add LeBron, and listen, I can care less about LeBron James. I don't have an opinion on him. That is good. The only thing I can say is that he's still, if you look at the stats from last year, this guy still's got the goods. Say whatever you want. He's better than 80% of the players that are in that league, if not 90%. I don't know the exact number. So and by the way, if Philadelphia is going to bring LeBron James in, LeBron James is going to start. That's because of asses in seats, and that's because of ticket sales. But when you talk about a team like Philadelphia and what they're going to do as far as LeBron James is concerned, wonderful. But like you said, Joel Embiid. And by the way, I called Tyrese Maxey's basketball games in high school. He played for South Garland when they were known as the Colonels. And a great basketball talent.
What you have left, sir.
Say that again.
What an exciting life you have led, sir.
I've done a lot of things that people don't that people have not done. That's just the way it is. And then you throw in Jaylen Brown for that up on top of it. So you don't just have one. You don't just have two. You don't even in this case have three. You got four superstars, and those superstars are gonna just be increased as far as their value is concerned, at least for the next 2 years, if he stays for the 2 years. The Sixers got a lot to.
If they mesh together, that is that. I mean, again,
I'll give you that.
I mean,
chemistry is a lot about what this team is going to have to figure out real quick. And if they figure it out, though, then the Sixers got a problem. And the problem is a good problem, but it's how much money they're going to pay to the other three after LeBron James does go and leave, and or what else are they going to bring in to try to work in the Eastern Conference to try to win that when you're looking at the Knicks, staring you right down the face. And say whatever you want. And I'm not a Knicks fan at all, but that was a dominating basketball team last year. If you watched the NBA, you saw it. You saw the championship won. And it's like we're going back in time, with an idea of what they could have been with Allen Iverson when they were playing and winning championships and things of that sort, which they weren't doing, unfortunately, with an Allen Iverson. So, total different identity going into this season, this NBA season. Will it mesh? That's going to be the big things. But here's the question: who's going to get the blame of them not meshing? Is it going to be LeBron? Is it going to be Joel? Is it going to be Maxey? Is it going to be Brown? Or is it going to be the head coach? Or are they going to figure out how they all will take the blame for it without LeBron because LeBron won't take the blame?
Well, if they see the team go on a decline, they'll point fingers at LeBron for sure. Depending on what he does or does not do on that team, they'll point fingers at him because, again, word gets out that maybe he's not being at the facility on time. Word will get out that maybe he's being a bit of a diva behind closed doors. That'll blow up to something bigger than it needs to be, and then sure enough, it'll control the narrative as far as where the situation with the Sixers are, and then of course you'll get your Stephen A. Smiths and you'll get your Charles Barkley's and everybody else who are pro Sixers right now going to go crazy about how LeBron's fucking things up for the team because it doesn't take much to get something started like that. It does not take anything.
I agree.
And whether it's fair or not, and again, this is also on LeBron's fault because LeBron came in. I mean, once he made the move from Cleveland to Miami with the diva attitude, I'm taking my talents to Miami, and we're going to win not one, not two, not three, yada, yada, yada. And then the biggest wake-up call he ever got was that first year they lost to the Mavericks. Mm-hmm. That was a wake-up call, and he needed that because one thing about sports in general, it'll sober your ass up really quick when it comes down to what your reality could be. And and with LeBron James, when him, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade came in there making fun of Dirk and everything else, and then Dirk said, "Hold my beer, watch what I can do." Then, sure enough, the Mavericks got themselves a title, all because that Miami team took them too lightly.
Exactly.
Now, granted, they made up for it the next couple of years, but still, it is what it is, and I wonder what the fit's going to be like out there in Philly, because that Philly crowd, we know how passionate we know how passionate they are in football. Mm-hmm. Are they the same in basketball? We know they're not quite the same in baseball. So how are they going to react when Philadelphia has the player of all players in the NBA and he doesn't show up? How will they react?
Well, I don't know. Does LeBron have the reputation? I know he has the reputation of being a diva, but is that divaness coming from being late, not going to meetings and things of that sort? Or is it just because of everything else that's up on top of it? Because something tells me, and I could be completely wrong when I say that, I don't think it's because of dedication to the game or the little things that every other player in the NBA has to do, and he just doesn't want to do it, like being on time to meetings, doing what he needs to do in practice, and all this other stuff. We can always bring up the Allen Iverson practice thing and how he's going to fit in as far as that's concerned, but when you do get a LeBron James, there's a lot of things besides LeBron James that you bring to your basketball team that other players you don't have to worry about.
I look at LeBron like this. The league wanted him to be Kobe Bryant, be that kind of guy that was, a team leader, the guy that can, that is, hustle lowly, respect the John Cena thing, right? They wanted him to be the star player in the on Team USA, that kind of thing. But instead, we get LeBron James, and LeBron James became a superstar by way of Hollywood, by way of like when you see LeBron James, what commercials of him do you think of? I don't.
What commercials? I don't. Yeah, I don't. I like them. Yeah.
When you think of Michael Jordan, you think Nike, you think McDonald's, you think, the other ones that Nike, McDonald's, and what else did he have? I don't know. But anyway, I mean, you know, the money, Gatorade. He had he had all this money coming into him by sponsors where whatever he made on the team, it could be the base low if it had to be, and just so the other team can get better. Now LeBron's kind of doing that in the way of, you know, 2 years, $8 million coming off of what he was getting paid for the Lakers. But I do think that, you know, it's that attitude change. Again, you got to get that Hollywood out of him.
Yes.
And once you get the Hollywood out of him, and if you realize, hey, this is your last run, I mean, you might scrape around and get one more team in if you really wanted to, but I think this is really it. So make it count. And if he's going there for the rings, which is what he said he is, fine. Let's see what he can do. I mean, hey, the East is not easy to get through. Look at the Knicks.
Yep.
So, you know, good luck with all that. I mean, you're going to a conference that's pretty stacked right now. So if you're a part of that, you know, and if you fail to get a ring in 2 years, are you a bust? Again, this is the championship or bust routine that a lot of people like us will sit there and go, well, fell there, didn't he? But I mean, again, team effort, team everything. But I mean, did he do enough to get his team to where they had to get to? We'll always look at every little single thing to sit there and go, well, did he do enough? And in Philly, those people will hold him to the fucking fire. So
you would think.
Yeah, because I mean, worst case, I mean, they are not above throwing batteries at players. Okay?
Oh, yeah. But also think about the history with Allen Iverson and Dr. J. Just to name the two names, he needs to be able to bring Charles Barkley, what those guys brought as far as energy is concerned and our talent in order for them to win basketball games. Now, that also being said, I don't know what the experts are saying, but what I will say is that I'm not expecting LeBron James to be able to bring them a championship in Philadelphia. The only way that happens is if the other three big names on that team can get along with him and go. But if there's a problem somewhere as far as those other three as well as LeBron, then we're not gonna be talking about the Sixers in the playoffs. Never mind playing for a championship.
I agree. 100%.
So something to keep track of. It will be interesting. It will be news. We won't probably be bringing a lot unless it becomes really big news. Because when we start week 1 of the NFL, we're usually NFL focused. If something comes up, then maybe we'll do a show or something that gets real big that we can do. Big news going on, it'll come up. And speaking of big news, you want to talk about a guy that wants to piss away a pretty damn good contract where he was making just as much as he was on the field as he is in the booth. This guy's trying to piss that away here really quick. And so
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean,
what?
Look, you know, it's funny how it wasn't they didn't register it as a DUI. They registered as an OWI, operating while intoxicated. I'm not sure what the difference is. I really don't know. But you know, the thing is, CBS hasn't spoken out about this yet. I'm pretty sure that
going to.
No. I'm pretty sure that, you know, that Rome was pretty freaking embarrassed by all this because, you know, the mugshot and everything else has kind of come out from the whole thing. It's something that I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to have seen. I'm pretty sure, you know, given who the guy is, I can't imagine him being like, oh well, it happened. I'm pretty sure he's eating some crow right now, and I'm pretty sure CBS and Jim Nance and all those guys will sit there and they'll be with him and say, look, it's all good. Okay, shit happens. You know, you aren't the first, you won't be the last. So, I mean, just don't do it again.
Well, if something else happens, that will be the end of it. Well, yeah, well, I guess it depends on what it is. If it's a repeat offense, they will be done with it.
I mean, dude.
And this
I
goes,
mean, I mean,
this goes into what you represent to the company that you work for. Normally, you're not hearing about people at Walmart getting pulled over for a DUI. Okay. All right. So this was what happens when the focus of who you are and your celebrity is that can bring the news to the fact that you got pulled over for a DUI. So all that becomes different.
OWI, sir.
Huh?
OWI. It wasn't a DWI.
It doesn't. It's the same damn.
I have no idea what the differences are. Please don't.
There isn't. No difference. Driving while intoxicated, DWI, whatever, or operating a vehicle.
Hold on a second, Sonny. Was he driving? That's the question. I mean, for all you know, for all we know, he was pumping gas and looked inebriated. That's operating while intoxicated. That doesn't mean he was driving. I don't know. No one ever said he's pulled on the side of the road and got in the water.
Say what the OW, whatever you're calling it. I'm calling it OWI.
I mean, he could be changing a flat tire under the influence, for all we know. That's operating under intoxication. That doesn't mean he was driving. They haven't specified if he was driving or not. That's what I'm saying.
Wonder what that is then, because that goes to the quick assumption that's what you think is going on. And I'm probably like 90% of the country going, well, the guy's an idiot, shouldn't be driving that way. But for
all we really know, he wasn't driving. Now, if he was driving a golf cart, on the highway and pulling a Johnny Cash or whatever, that's different. But I mean, I'm not sure if that was actually the case or not. So I don't know. They said nothing in the article said they pulled over him in the vehicle he was driving and get him to take a sobriety test. They got him to take a sobriety test, but they didn't say they pulled him over on the vehicle.
Well, let me ask you this: you got the Chat GPT.
Yeah.
All right. And you got, and I'll even give them credit. They've got most of the stories. They're kind of like TMZ. TMZ usually gets the thing as far as that is concerned. But it from my understanding, it was a traffic violation. So what does Chat be?
No, give me 1 second here.
What do you say, Chat GPT or whatever the hell? Why can't they just name shit the way? Anyway.
I know.
So what? If they don't know what it is, then someone's got to know what happened when this happened. Okay.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected. Former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo was arrested in Milwaukee on Thursday after deputies stopped his vehicle and suspected he was driving under the influence. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office said Romo was booked. Let me read, jackass. Says Romo was booked and later released. He was due to make his first court appearance on September 21st. Officials have not released any blood, alcohol, or toxicology reports, and they have not said why his vehicle was initially stopped. CBS, where Romo works as the network for the NFL's lead analyst, declined to comment on the incident. Authorities have also not shared whether or not anyone else was in the vehicle, and any additional tests were handed out after his arrest. So there you go.
I guess we'll find out when the date comes. So when they do the probable cause and all that good stuff. So, but let's just say this is going the way we kind of think it is. A second one is it is not going to help him at all, and he is not going to be employed with CBS again. Right. Now, if it's something that small no one cares about, that's fine. But when you're talking DUI or whatever you want to friggin' call it, you're putting other people's lives in danger. That's what makes the story bigger than what it is.
But look at Tiger Woods. Exactly.
the
So
celebrity of that, it comes from, it brings it front and center, and
you know what though? I don't
that's
like
the
the idea.
responsibility.
I don't like the idea that people like us will sit there and go, "Well, what about the next time?" I mean, what if this was not an isolated incident? We're always gonna keep these receipts ahead of us and say, "Well, remember that one time when back in 2026 when he got stopped in Milwaukee?" I mean, it's a little sorry on our part. I mean, just because I mean, real media will actually sit there and do that to them constantly. But like people like us who sit here and have really no axe to grind with him or anybody else, will sit there and go, told you this will happen again. I mean, Tiger Woods had the same problem. I mean, his situation was not an isolated incident either, but his took time. His took over time and over injuries and over pills and over everything else he's gone through. I don't think Romo was that guy, but again,
Oh,
I
I don't
don't know
think
the
so
guy
either.
personally.
I'll give you that, but you 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 can't compare Tiger Woods to Tony Romo
No,
because
no, no,
Tiger
but
Woods has
no,
got
but
4 or 5
but
incidences. If for some reason Tiger doesn't like cars or cars don't like him, one of the
oh,
two.
okay. Well, let me ask you a question. If you go up to a random stranger and ask him, "Do you know the name Tony Romo?" Most people probably heard the name, right?
If they're kind of, and especially if they're a Cowboy fan,
Well, but even if they're not, I mean, either a cowboy hater, they know the name. You
that's
know,
true.
do you know the name Tiger Woods? I think everybody knows who he is. So I mean, they're kind of on. I'm not saying they're on the same par of name recognition, but they're definitely in that celebrity aspect of you hear the name Romo, you hear the name Tiger, you know who they are.
Yep.
So
If
now
TMZ knows who you are, you're in trouble.
you're right. So
That having been said, of course, that's the name of this show. Catch us at, when the NFL season starts from 9 to noon Central Standard Time. This is probably, and I would guess he was having a couple of drinks with somebody
maybe.
and
Well,
maybe had one too many.
listen,
I get,
he's at a charity golf tournament. Probably had a few beers or a few, a few highballs or whatever, and just so you know what, I'm good. And turns out he wasn't. I mean, look out that window, sir. That happens to more people than not. And I say this being someone.
more than
I,
not, I don't know, but
well,
okay, I get your point.
listen. I say this as someone who's been pulled over by the police, and been said, you know what, you don't have a driver's license that's current. We got to take you to jail. I've had that, so it does happen. I mean, shit
Oh,
does
yeah.
happen.
Yeah. And on the good side, there wasn't anything else but this. There wasn't anything else that they accused him of as an occurrence with it. Like, they found drugs or anything else. They found a weapon in the vehicle. Nothing like that.
They
That's
found a
why,
crack. They found a crack pipe in the vehicle and that kind of thing.
yeah, something along those lines that we always hear that goes along with something, depending on who it is. So, it is what it is. And here's one thing I think, I will say, okay, as far as Tony Romo, I don't think it'll ever happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as where they're going to reprimand him, but I don't think they're going to take him off TV. I don't know how CBS will reprimand him because, believe it or not, when you say Tony Romo, you say CBS. And listen, if you don't think that all this is covered when you're about ready to sign with ESPN, CBS, Fox, or whatever the case may be, you're crazy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they all sat down when this contract was being negotiated and after it was agreed to, or whatever, before it was agreed to, they said, hey, listen, this is what's going to happen if this happens. If you bring us in, you bring dark shadows amongst our brand by being a part of our brand, you won't be a part of the brand. I'm almost sure that every single contract that is signed as far as those kinds of things are concerned, happen. Except maybe Charles Barkley.
Here's the thing. You think about it. I mean, if you go back a ways, Howard Cosell would always get loaded in the booth when he was calling.
Oh yeah.
Pat Summerall did the same thing. So I mean, for network TV and this kind of stuff, it's not an isolated incident. Plus, it didn't happen on the air either. So it's again, I wonder who sits there and says, "Hey guys, Tony Romo got arrested. Let's go make this newsworthy." I mean, I don't think the police leaked it. Said, "Hey, by the way, everybody, here in Milwaukee, we arrested Tony Romo." I don't think they did that. So I wonder how
interestingly enough, there's a story about that. I forget what it was, but Outkick got a hold of it, and they were the one that broke some big story. What was that story? I don't remember. We'll find out what it is. That having been said, in the green room, man, I'll just say, long time no see. That he is here. I mean, but we can't see him. There he is, right there.
We couldn't hear you during his intro either. Again, you don't learn.
I just do it. He's the one. He's the fine co-host of this program. And then we got 1A on the side there too. But it's Cuervo. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you? You got boxes on the side. Are you moving?
No, it was the stepdaughter, grandkids. They left last weekend, so
I know.
Empty now.
Explain to me, because I watch. You're on my Facebook, and your lovely wife is on. I keep track of her. Explain this whole thing. Were they living with you? I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't necessarily realize that family was living with you while he was in training.
Yeah. So when my son-in-law joined the Army, my wife's daughter with the two grandkids came. And they moved in with us while he was on the East Coast during basic training, during his schools, and so he finally just got orders to his first duty station in North Carolina. So they're going to be there for at least the next 3 years or so. So yeah, that's what they did. They just got there. They drove cross country this past week, and they made it. Thankfully they made it safe. It took them about 4 days to get there, but they made it safe, and they're in their new home now together again as a family, and just happy that they got there safe. Mm-hmm.
That is good. All right, I don't know if we're on a delay or not, Cuervo. Give me a thumbs up right now, as far as so we can figure out where we are. Okay, so you're good. All right. So that being said, okay, we before you came in, we're talking about Tony Romo on all the nonsense of that story and what it is. Again, I don't think it's because this guy's got a drinking problem. I think he probably went and had a couple drinks with his buddies and didn't realize he had that one too many. But we're talking about the consequences of the dark cloud that is put on the brand, and that brand obviously being CBS, and how much of an influence that brand has on whether or not he's going to continue with them. Obviously, I would think that there's going to be some kind of repercussion of that. But the other question is that repercussion, if it happens again, how much more is that going to be a big part of his story?
Yeah, I think, and maybe you guys know more than I do, but I definitely think this is a situation where context is going to matter. I did hear the Podfather say that it could have been something as easy as he was at a golf tournament, or maybe that is actually what happened. I don't know. But I definitely think that the context will matter in this situation, because if you want to compare this one to the Mark Sanchez story, where this guy goes and he assaulted somebody. Like, you're never going to see him on Fox or any major platform.
Good point.
Fox attitude.
He's done. Yeah, so his career is done. Romo, on the other hand, we may or may not know the background. You guys probably know more than I do. I just saw that he got arrested with a DUI, in Milwaukee, and that's all I know about it. So maybe you guys know more than I do, but I definitely think that the context and the situation is going to.
Yeah, exactly. Now, that having been said, since you joined a little bit late, let's get your take. Granted, we're going to get into some football here, but your take up on this story, bringing his talents over to Philadelphia. Obviously, the contract is definitely wonderful as far as the 76ers are concerned. They'll make up that within the seats that are sold. But what's your take up on LeBron going to Philly and the Lakers shutting the door on Bronny and didn't even let the guy know? I get it, but man, poor Bronny. I mean, outside of not being able to be good enough to play in the NBA, playing in the D League now. Do you know if he's going to be going with his dad and playing in the D League with Philly? I know. Hey, check that chat GPT thing about Bronny while we hear what Cuervo's got to say.
Yeah, I don't know, because I would think that he's still under contract with the Lakers. I don't know what NBA rookie contracts look like. I don't know how long they're for or how flexible they are. But if I'm not mistaken, last year was his rookie.
I don't know if you've seen the video, and I couldn't find it to where they locked him out of the building. He went there, and his cards and everything to get you in and out. None of that is working. Basically, locked him out of the building.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I
didn't know that. What did I do?
That's exactly what I said. Go ahead. What's the deal up there, Podfather?
Okay, as of right now, Bronny is still a member of the Lakers, despite all speculation that he's followed his dad to the Sixers. Here's where things stand. Mm-hmm. He's not been traded. Multiple reports say LeBron and Bronny are not considered a package deal, and Bronny is not expected to request a trade to Philadelphia just because his father left from LA. Since LeBron's announcement, there has been plenty of trade rumors and proposed deals involving Bronny, but they are all speculative rather than completed transactions. The Lakers are expected to continue developing Bronny, who has spent time between the NBA's club and the G League, and is still viewed as a young prospect on the upside. So that's pretty much as of right now, he's still a Laker.
Yeah, the locking of the doors. When I saw that video, that's obviously something technological. But if you think about it and you see the story, you go, "What the hell is that all about?" So so I'm glad that he's still there. I'm glad they're going to still support him and do what he's going to do. But Cuervo, this is one of those stories where, well, now you got obviously the biggest name in the NBA. There's got to be worry within the NBA within the next couple of years, and that worry is who's going to be the next great big name that you can mention that's going to take over the NBA and be what maybe LeBron, was and is.
Yeah, that's tough because I don't really know. The only name that comes to mind really for me as far as who's going to be the face of the NBA, I think you got a couple of potentials. I'm leaning towards Wembanyama of the Spurs. That's probably going to be the next big face of the NBA.
Gotcha.
He just made the finals. He's 2 or 3 years into his career. He may win a championship in the next couple of years. Who knows? But that's the name that comes to mind for me as far as being the face of the NBA.
I was thinking if I was going to guess, I would think Giannis if they can figure out how to promote him enough to be that guy that everybody has fallen in love with. You know, when you talk the NBA, you talk Giannis now, and that's the only one that I can kind of think of that might be able to bring that kind of, you know, spotlight, I guess you can say,
You know
to
Hey.
what they do. What do you think, Podfather?
Don't fall asleep on Cooper Flag. Rookie of the year. He had a hell of a first year in the league, and he's gonna have more. He's grown 2 inches. In the last couple of weeks, he's grown 2 inches. He's now 6'11". So, I mean, he was 6'9" last year. He's still growing. So, he could be the next Dirk. You never know.
I don't know if you can look at a rookie and expect him to take over what a LeBron James is going to. You know,
I mean,
huh?
when LeBron was a rookie, we thought that, right?
No, not at all.
When Kobe Bryant was a rookie, we thought
You
that.
still had Kobe. You still had Kobe doing what he was doing when he came in there. And if I'm not mistaken, Michael Jordan was still in the NBA. So now, granted, I think everybody wanted it to be him. I mean, they were only showing his basketball games when he was in high school on ESPN. So we know who they wanted, and they were successful to make it happen that way. I just wonder who that next person is, because obviously, you know, we're not seeing ESPN in any high school gymnasiums right now spotlighting the next guy coming out. So,
well, you know, well, a lot of reasons why, because you can't draft from high school to pros anymore. You have to actually have a year in Europe or a year in college. So,
well, that's a good point. I forgot about that, which they shouldn't do. Oh no, you can. Okay, you don't have to go. You just have to sit it out. Is that the check chat GPT on rookies if if players can come right out of high school? Since you got the smart one, figure that out. But but again, as far as what the Lakers are and where they're, you know, trying to go to, or the NBA in reality, not the Lakers. You know, who's going to be that main focus that'll get you in there? Listen, you know, Shaq and Chuck, they're not players. And believe me, I think they get as much promotion as anybody else because of who they are and their superstar. But as far as guys on the court, going up and down the court, you know, week in and week out, game by game. Go ahead, the Podfather.
The answer is no. Under the current NBA rules, U.S. high school players cannot enter the NBA draft immediately after graduating high school. They must be at least 19 years old during the calendar year of the draft, be at least 1 year removed from high school graduation class. That also means top prospects choose one of these paths. Or play one season of college basketball, be the one and done deal. Play professionally overseas, or play in another professional developmental league.
There you go.
So
there you go. So yeah, well then they could grab them up and put them in the D League. It sounds like, if they want to, or whatever the case may be. But
I don't know. I don't know if they can. Again, because the G League is NBA affiliated, they can't draft them and just stash them.
Draft and stash. It's I guess you're right. That's actually a big story outside of that kind of stuff. So that being said, now Cuervo, long time no see. Good to see you. So the question I have is we've been talking a lot of stuff, and you haven't been. Is there anything that is on your mind that you have not been able to speak about that you want to bring up? Of course, we could do that at the end of the show too. But since you've been gone for so long, maybe there's something that you're, you know, interested in speaking about, or do we just roll with the flow on what we're going to do?
Well, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to talk about it at some point. You may have, I don't know if you guys were on last week, but you know, this whole thing with the ESPN firings, you know, Ryan Clark specifically, that's the one that's getting the most talk. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that's on my mind right now, because there's a lot of opinions out there, and I'd like to hear what you guys think, because I have my own opinions on it. But other than that, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, obviously the preseason is going to be starting here in the next 2 weeks. I know we're going to get set up to do division breakdowns and whatnot.
Yeah, we got to figure out when we can do that.
Well, yeah, I mean that we can start that probably the next week or two, I would say.
Yeah, because it's getting close. Yeah, I mean we got 4 weeks to go through AFC and NFC, North, South, East, and West. We do each one each week. So, but as far as Ryan Clark is concerned and everything else, I'll just say it. I just don't care. Maybe I don't dislike him. I dislike a few of his takes, but overall, I don't dislike him. But interestingly enough, J.J. Watts came out and had something to say about Pat McAfee and his contract, and is basically on the lines is that, well, we're losing all these guys, but yet we're paying you. And he was specific with Pat McAfee, but you can't forget about Stephen A. Smith. Those two dudes got the top ranking money going out of all of the characters that are over there at ESPN. And we're talking about Ryan Clark, who was making what, $3 million a year. Cam Newton also part of the acts. That I just love. Let him go back to his show and let him, be an embarrassment to himself on his own show outside of being on ESPN. But Ryan Clark, I don't have much of an opinion on because he has a successful, I mean successful podcast called Pivot, and it's hugely successful. So I'm not necessarily worried about Ryan Clark and where he's going to land because he's going to get hurt. Go ahead, Potfather. It looks like you were foaming at the mouth to say something, or was that just the pizza?
No, I mean, here's the thing.
That pizza does look good.
Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, they draw in advertisers. They draw dollars to ESPN. Ryan Clark, Cam Newton, all those guys, not so much. And at the end of the day, ESPN is, they're looking at pushing their brand further and farther as best they can. And when football season hits, they want to have people tuned into whatever shows they're going to put together. And people are going to tune to see what Stephen A. Smith's going to say about the Cowboys and how he's going to dog cuss the shit out of them while loving Jerry Jones. You're going to hear Pat McAfee doing his thing over there because he's going to have success with that. They're going to tie in the WWE wrestlers and be a part of that because, again, they have that agreement with TKO and everybody else. So they're looking to bring asses into seats, as it were, or people or eyes on the prize, right? And Ryan Clark and company, they just weren't doing. No matter how crazy of an outfit Cam Newton would wear, nobody's watching that shit. So, yeah, I get it. Don't get me wrong. There is how many football shows, pregame shows, all that stuff, or football NFL wrap-up shows they have up there that that can lure people away from what you're currently doing. There's tons. So you can either simplify it or just keep throwing money at it, hopefuls and hoping that it'll draw more advertisers. And right now they've been doing it and they've been losing money on the back end of that. So that's why you have to, cut your losses now. It's not going to hurt ESPN. It's not really going to hurt Ryan Clark either. It's not going to hurt Cam Newton. Again, they were paid very well to go out there and have an opinion. And now they can do that on their own podcast and get their own advertisers and do that if they wanted to. They can find ways to make money in this business. Just because you're not on the on the mothership over there in Sanford, Connecticut, does not mean that you cannot find success anywhere else. Rich Eisen did it. Dan Patrick did it. So you can find ways.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that, I don't know how much, and maybe Cuervo, maybe you got an idea about it, but I don't know how much Ryan Clark and and Cam Newton actually brought, and if they did bring eyes, something tells me I think maybe Ryan Clark was. I don't know. Cam Newton, he still has a following, and I don't know if them, but this is all about money. But when you hear the money, Ryan Clark 3 million, Cam Newton 2 million. When you think about the millions they're paying those other two guys, you would think that maybe something could be done if, and this goes to the point of what the Podfather said, if they're one of the reasons why they are getting, asses in seats or, eyes on the product. I don't know. I think they bring something at least to that morning show that Stephen A's on. What is that show he does?
My first take.
Yeah, first take. That's what it is. Yeah, first take. I mean, I don't know if they get more viewers with them on first take or not. They probably do during football season. Off season, maybe not. Maybe like us, we kind of go into a down when it gets into the off season, and then it kind of kicks up when you get close. I don't know. I mean, do you think it's going to be a loss there, Cuervo? For them as far as first take is concerned.
Do I think it's going to be what? Say that one more time.
Do you think it's going to affect first take? Do you think it's going to the bottom line? The viewership, is any of it going to go without those guys?
Well, I think it all depends on who or if they bring anybody different in, or if they're just going to stick with who they have and just kind of fill the seats in. I mean, Orlovsky's still there.
Yep.
I think Damien Woody's still there.
They let
Clark go. Obviously, they let Cam Newton go. They let Marcus Spears go. I forgot his nickname, but yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Swagoo. They let him go. The one that actually surprised me was it was a non-football one. Carl Ravitch, who did baseball for ESPN
for a long time.
He was there for over 30 years, and it just. I told my wife this. I mean, it just goes to show it really is true that anybody's replaceable in a business, in any type of business, whether it's sports, the food industry. It doesn't matter. Like, everybody's replaceable. So it just shocked me to see him, because I mean, it was literally like he went from doing Sunday night baseball games when ESPN was still getting those games to now he's, not even employed by ESPN anymore. So it's just crazy to me that how fast things can change. But I wanted to kind of dive into Ryan's situation a little more, because there's some controversy with it. And the other ones, they just kind of, they were just told they were gonna, and they just kind of was like, all right, cool. I what it is about Ryan Clark, I don't know exactly, but if you guys didn't see it, the other two, Fred Taylor and Channing Crowder, interviewed Ryan on The Pivot. They did an episode the other day, and just a lot of what he was talking about as far as just the background story behind what happened, and how he got told the news like in the middle of recording an NFL Live episode. And I just think that the problem, and you can go back and you can look at the history of it, of Ryan Clark's time on ESPN. I love what he does when I'll say it like this: when Ryan Clark sticks to football, there's nobody better than him. I think.
I fully agree.
He's one of the. Tom Pelissero is another one that really shocked me that they just cut ties with. I mean, because that guy has the inside. I mean, he's an insider just as good as anybody.
Yep.
Rappaport, Schefter. I mean, he's like right there. So, for them to let him go, I think they're going to regret that one. But Ryan, but for Ryan, like I said, when he's breaking stuff down, I mean, there's nobody that I think can match what he does. Where I think Ryan has gone wrong over the years is when he makes things personal, and he's done that a few times.
Yes.
And I think that's where I think ESPN kind of felt like we can't continue to let this happen, because it's happened a few times. Going, the most recent one, you guys probably seen the clip with him and Peter Schrager live, live on TV, and him making the comment about him not being a former player. I've seen other guys say that stuff too, where it's like Jalen Rose. That's why he got canned by ESPN, because he kept bringing up, well, you're not a player. You don't know what it's like to be in the league. It's like, well, then just have all former players. Like, nobody else can have those type of jobs. How about that?
Exactly. Or opinion.
You know what I mean? So, and nobody else can have an opinion unless you've played in the NFL, in the NBA, or whatever sport you're talking about. You're not allowed to have an opinion unless you've played the game. Ridiculous. So, but he's made things really personal. The RG3 thing. You guys remember that story?
I remember that one too.
The whole Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese thing. And RG3 had something to say, and then he came back at RG3 talking about, well, I know in your house you don't talk about anything about black women, basically calling him out because he's married to a white woman. Like, dude, you didn't have to go there with that. And so I think ESPN kind of had enough with the personal shots that and how he would take things personal. So, you can't always make things about race. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it, because we don't work for anybody where you have to be politically correct. And
correct.
I think once he learns to stop trying to use that, I think he's going to even be better than what he was before.
It does become a bit of a cop out, especially when you think that's your only argument. And
Right.
I mean, there were times me and Sonny would talk wrestling, right? And I can actually have the thing in my back pocket. Hey, I've been in the ring before. I know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, though, is that doesn't make him better. And the idea of being on a show like that, you're trying to make everybody else around you better, because you want people to watch your product so they can get engrossed with what everybody is saying, not just one person. That's one problem that Stephen A. Smith has, that everybody's so engaged on him because he is so outlandish that you forget there's other people in the room. And when there are people, he's sitting there just doing his own little fit and doing his own thing. People are more attracted to the character than they are the human being. And I think that's where a lot of these guys who got let go. I mean, Cam Newton tried. He dressed the part. But at the end of the day, he had a whole lot of nothing. And that's where I don't see this being a major loss for ESPN. And they might go find other players. And let's face it, the door's open for anybody to go in there and do that job. But again, does ESPN want to pay that kind of money for players or for people who can talk the sport, but may not draw the kind of eyes to our product that we want them to draw? Again, ESPN is in a very situation. They're the TV station that everybody tunes into at a bar, and it stays up there on the bar 24/7. People tune into that. They go into a sporting goods store. It's on the TV somewhere somehow. They're getting their ratings that way somehow because it's always on. When people are sitting there going, well, this other network's got the same thing, but they're probably a lot easier to watch. Let's go there. I mean, that's where ESPN has tricked it up with the whole bringing the wrestling aspect of it and everything else, because they want to attract more eyes.
The only thing that the money, this is we can sit here and talk money all day long. This has nothing to do with money when they're paying McAfee and Smith what they're paying them, because that's chump change. In fact, you know, Pat Pat McAfee or Stephen A. could pay for that salary. The only thing I just wondered, and when you talk about that, why does Ryan Clark need to be there all year long? Right? Why can't they just bring them in week one, get it done, or maybe a couple weeks before, and then take them and get them off of the year in the off season? That I think that's what creates a lot of problems, especially that one that he had the problem with, where he said, "Hey, don't be disrespecting me because I didn't play the game." That was in the off season. That wasn't during the season, and so by keeping them on when they
When you
really
talking about the
need
shoulder
them,
thing?
yeah, that was in the off season when he had that problem, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. No, it was not. It was
That
not.
was,
No,
it's
it
in,
was.
I'm
It was.
mistaken.
It was in week one. It was week
Week,
one.
week
Hmm.
one, damn. But even back to that, you don't need Ryan Clark in the off season. You don't need Cam Newton in the off season. You don't need that.
I
Okay.
agree with that. Hmm.
But I will say this: them not being there during the season, they better fill the shoes with something. Now, that also being said, ESPN's the quarterback of the sports, and what does ESPN and good, great quarterbacks do? They make superstars out of nobody. So they're going to have to do that again, because this is not the first time we've heard about ESPN giving somebody the boot. They do it all the time. So they're going to have to fill Ryan Clark's shoes. Who is that? I don't know. Who could do it? I got maybe an idea,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's going to be who I'm thinking of. I think they're going to put somebody in those seats that are maybe kind of popular, and they're going to give them the spotlight in order to become the next Stephen A, Ryan A, or any of those other guys. And that's just what ESPN does, because when they start firing everybody's name that that started back. It started back at Rich Eisen. It started back with those guys. And what happens? Guess what? They're still on top after they've gotten rid of all those guys years ago. So they just got to figure out who that is going to be. And I'm just not sure who would be able to step in and do it. Who knows? Any ideas that might be able, that you can think of, Cuervo, that could step in and do it?
Say that one more time, Sonny.
Is there any ideas that you can think of that could step in for a Ryan Clark, step in for a Cam Newton? Anybody else on top of your head that you think that? Listen, Ryan Clark, and as much as I hate Cam Newton, I can't stand them. They bring something when it comes, like you said, when it comes to the game, and not the personal crap. They bring that to them. I just
Well, yeah,
wonder
I mean,
who that could be that
there's
they
no
would
better
pick. Did I lose
Yeah, I
Cuervo?
just
There he
think
is.
that no, I'm here. It's breaking up a little bit, but yeah, I mean the best perspectives do come from former players. I mean that there is truth to that, because they know the inside. Just like if Podfather talking wrestling, he been there, done that, for him. So he knows the ins and outs of the business. He knows the ins and outs of what it takes to be a wrestler, a professional wrestler. So guys like you and me that have never been in the ring, we think we know what we're talking about, but we can give opinions, but it's not the same as somebody who's actually been there, done that. Like just that's just be like me talking military life. Like I know better than you guys do. I know you guys understand what the military is, but Well, unless you actually served it,
I
and you
know.
actually
We
did
saw Full
time
Metal
in.
Jacket. We know.
Yeah,
You know
well, that's
way
true.
more
I
than
mean, once you watch that,
I just know they wear fancy
you
uniforms.
got it all down.
No,
Right.
look, I already know who
So-
Sonny's going to say because let's face it, he's already thinking it. He wants Tom McManus to be on ESPN.
Kirk
We
Cousins.
know this.
Listen, I think Tom McManus should have been an indoor football coach, is what I thought. And he's just had so many business ventures that it wouldn't be able to happen.
You know,
I would love for him to be a Jaguar coach. That'd be wonderful.
You know, the thing is that, well, look at someone like Jason Garrett, right? He's become a hell of a good analyst for NBC. And
Right.
his wherewithal, knowing the business, having coached it, having played it. I think they're looking for someone like that who has kind of got that level of respect, that they've gotten to that height, and to where they can be taken more seriously than, you know, someone who dresses up like Cam Newton would dress up and go, hey, you know, this is kind of a character arc, but it's who I am also. At the same time, Jason Garrett can be very boring on TV as well. So he's
I was going to say how many eyes would actually go to Jason Garrett. Now, granted, I would, but then again, I am not their target market. I am. Listen, it's not Sonny Clark. It's young folks. It's,
right, but understand this: Jason Garrett's on once a week. You're talking every day.
Exactly.
And you know, ESPN. I mean, they like I said, they trick it up with a partnership with WWE. They'll bring in a Roman Reigns. They'll bring in a Seth Rollins. They'll bring in someone who can talk football, who can talk. And that's another thing. Football is such a 24/7 sport now, 365 a year. And unfortunately, during the offseason, when people who don't really care about football because they're kind of taking a breather from it, kind of like Cuervo, Bryce, and Obi, when they don't even come on the show, then because they're doing their own thing at that point. You know, so maybe elevate that and say, okay, well, who could talk basketball? Who could talk hockey? Who could talk baseball? Who could talk other sports that are currently on? Well, no one's going to attract guys to that either. So ESPN, I mean, this is why Pat McAfee has a 5-hour show on ESPN, because he brings in the advertisers from his own podcast right to ESPN as well. So, I mean, this is where those guys really excel at. And that's why they can keep them and not keep the Ryan Clarks of the world. Because, again, if you want to talk football on a regular basis and you got a podcast, go do it. People will listen. If they like you, they'll listen to you. If they like what you got to say, they'll listen to you. But during that dead time of the year when there's no sports that are really captivating anybody right now, you're sitting there going, all right, let's just get to August. Let's just get to August until it all starts until the grind starts, right?
Right.
And then go to a month of meaningless football and go, well, we don't care about this, but let's get to September now. So we've already started with August, let's get to September. Then all of a sudden you're off to the races until February. So,
and then you see those articles, you know, those useless articles, you know, who's going to be this kind of guy. Instead of actually having news, they generate articles about, you know, everything but the actual game sometimes. And you're reading articles in the off season, unless it's about actual things that happened, I don't even care. And you see that. Look on Bleacher Report. Hell, I work for Bleacher Report doing exactly that at some point. So, you know, you think about what is going on as far as the off season is concerned for the NFL. I don't think this is as much as a problem with the NBA, that, you know, Major League Baseball. No one cares when it's on the off season. It's on the off season. But then again, when they're on the off season, it's the NFL, and it's a big, and that's a big. It just goes to show how big the product is as far as the NFL is concerned, compared to the NBA, compared to Major League Baseball. Hell, even the banana ball, for God's sake, is filling up.
Dude, Kerry Woodfish
to sell it. When's the last time the Cubs actually sold out freaking Wrigley Field, for God's sake? But yet you got these clowns walking in there, and I mean that in a very great way. They sell the damn place out. That's what ESPN needs to find. They need to find that thing that gets them to the gap outside of the NFL. Because listen, if ESPN ever lost the capabilities of having the NFL, they'd be out of business, and we all know that.
the thing, if anything keeps football talk going during the off season, it's shit like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Well, he makes that. He brings that to the table when he feels like it's not. Listen, I haven't heard my name in media for a while. Maybe I need to say slash do something to get me back into that. And listen, when Jerry speaks, hey Cuervo, when Jerry speaks, people listen. Sort of like a general in the military almost, but obviously the generals in the military are much smarter.
The bad thing about Jerry Jones when he speaks, I kind of feel like everybody looks at him like they look at Donald Trump sometimes, where he's like, "What stupid thing is he going to say now?"
And, yeah, yeah, I do.
I mean, because like how's he going to kick it? How's he going to how's he going to kick himself in his own ass when he's sitting there talking out of stuff that he's making up words as he goes. So.
Mhm.
I mean,
Makes up words.
he does. I mean,
He does. It's amazing when you're in Texas. It's completely different. Cuervo, y'all's actually a word. In case you didn't know,
listen,
it's not you all. It's y'all.
okay, well, first of all, Cuervo, I don't mean to get personal here, but you're familiar with the term glory hole, right?
Why would you bring
The reason I
that
said
word?
because Jerry Jones
Where's this going?
because Jerry Jones on the press conference
Did
says,
you find a different?
"Shut the fuck up, and I'll tell you."
Sake? Oh my
No, because
God!
Jerry Jones on a press conference one time says, "I like me some glory hole," and then they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I like it when the running back you can find that hole and go right to victory." I'm like, "That's not what glory hole means, sir." So, I mean.
I feel like I knew that.
He makes shit up as he
I
goes.
I am the left turn.
I feel like I've heard it. I've heard that quote
Just
before
went.
from Jerry Jones.
I would like to thank the Podfather for that.
Do
But,
I have to find the video?
No, I don't. No, I don't need the video. Thank you very much. But along that line, okay. All right. Since we're there, Jerry Jones. Okay. When you say he talks, he needs to be heard. If you think about the off season, which is what we're talking about, and whether or not maybe Jerry Jones can he actually keep everybody talking about the Dallas Cowboys in the off season? Well, he's done a great job, but what has happened since 1996? Some guys are just as good. They're just good at what they do, and as much as listening to Jerry Jones that I don't want to do. He still gets you to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. He still gets you to make them the biggest grossing NFL football team, right now, what they do. It's all about the money, and he figures out how to do it, and he can. He'll say the most outlandish crap in the world as long as that gets up on there. What do they say? Doesn't matter about how bad the coverage is or what he said, how bad it is. At least they're talking about him. And Jerry understands that better than most people in the NFL.
Does.
I think when it comes to the Cowboys, guys, there's a few teams that I think you can label as either you love them or you hate them. There's no in between. And those are the teams that get talked about the most. I think you can put that label, the love them or hate them. The Cowboys is that team. I think the Raiders are that team. I think I would say
the Packers.
Maybe the Packers, the Steelers.
The Patriots.
Then again, I don't know. People don't love them. The Patriots, either you love them or you hate them. Those are the teams that's why you want to talk about them. That's why you want to either you want to talk mad shit about them, or you want to try and hype them up. Like, this is our year. This is our year.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah,
Bowl,
I mean,
baby. Like that's
1996, baby.
that's what it is.
the thing is, there's probably 5 teams in the NFL that are like that. The
Kansas
rest of
City
them,
is another one.
yeah. The rest of them, the media is indifferent about them. People are indifferent about them. Do we
Yeah.
care about the Buffalo Bills? They maybe. I mean, do we care about the New York Jets got new uniforms and new helmets, right? And they're like trying to blow this up like this is a big thing. I'm like, so they can go 5-12 with these outfits because that's who they are.
People just want to troll the Jets. That's what the Jets are. They're the punchline to jokes. People want to troll them. Like there's really no like trying to hype them up. It's people make fun of them.
You know, the bad
That's
thing
what
is
the
every team in the league has been that at one time or another. You know, I mean, even the Cowboys have been that way back when they were losing, going 1-15 and everything, going 5-11 for 3 years in a row. I mean, the Bears have been there. You know, the Jaguars have probably been in the dungeon for a while. You know, look at the Browns. Look at all these Browns. You don't think they're not kicked around quite a bit by the fans and by other teams? I mean, I told Sonny a long time ago the last time the Browns looked good was in the movie Draft Day. So
yeah,
I mean,
Sonny.
They haven't had that. They haven't had that kind of season in a long time.
right? So
Sonny's the GM. That guy right there.
Me, my Jaguars. They lead the league in that stuff. You know, so it's just like, you know, why? I don't know. You know, it's interestingly enough when you think about those teams, it becomes those teams that become dynasties at some point, right? You know, either you love them or you hate them. Dallas being one, Kansas City, Patriot. These teams are dynasty teams, and they're the ones that get that hate or they get that too much love. Pittsburgh's another one. So when you develop the dynasty as that, you know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you don't know what you're doing, you know, then it becomes that. But still, however that ends, whether or not it'll be good or bad for your football team, which, believe me, I've seen many years of Jaguar football not be good. In the beginning, I loved watching those Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, they in the first 3 years they were amazing. Then they went on that drought, and then they had a few good guys. But you know what? They were the laughing stock of the NFL outside of Cleveland. They've been that. I think Cleveland holds that one probably more than anybody else.
well, I mean, for one thing, Cleveland went away and they came back and they still suck.
Yeah, and that didn't help. Yeah, it's just like you would think something would have been put together when you brought them back.
I mean, you think about it. Houston Oilers go to Tennessee, they become the Titans, they go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
They don't win, but at least they go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the Cleveland Browns went to Baltimore, became the Ravens, won the Super Bowl. And you're like, can't catch a break. So then Houston gets another team, Cleveland gets the Browns back, and neither one of them has been taken seriously for the last however many years. So
right.
I mean, it happens.
And I don't know what it's gonna. I don't know what it's gonna take for people to maybe understand that the NFL lives on this all day long. If you can't get the Cleveland Browns to win football games, the NFL has to figure out how to hype them outside of their own football team, outside of their ownership. The NFL has to figure out how to hype them. But when they make stupid mistakes like trading Jason Garrett, trading Garrett, which really puts them in the worst position. I mean, no one expects the Cleveland Browns to not finish better than fourth in their own damn division. I mean, so we don't want to start talking division talk, but Cleveland has nothing. But that's the problem with Cleveland. Whenever they had something, they got rid of it. Whether it was Garrett, whether or not that you thought, you know that quarterback could do the work from Oklahoma. What's his name? Slipped from my mind. Baker Mayfield. You know, things that and again, But the NFL still has to do their part to try to sell the Browns, whether that's putting them on TV, whether that pushing them in the off season. Let's find something to talk about. The NFL is also responsible for that outside the teams being responsible for it, as i.e. Jerry Jones. We just saw that. Now, but those usually come from moves, making moves. Who you gonna coach? Who's gonna be there? Who's that guy? And the Dallas Cowboys, they know how to do it too. I found this after, of course, Podfather, we were talking about this last week. But interestingly enough, I thought when I looked at this and I seen Barry Switzer, say whatever you want. That guy's got the Super Bowl ring.
He's got Jimmy's ring, yeah.
Exactly, but the rest of these guys have Super Bowl rings outside of Jason Garrett.
You know what though? Dave Campbell never had a mustache.
I think that's the wrong picture. So whenever they did this, it actually looks like Budkiss a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I was like,
yeah. Who's the one that Webster's dad? Him.
Alice Karras.
Alice Karras, yeah. It looks like Karras is who he looks like. But here is your lineup as far as head coaches are concerned for the dynasty. After the dynasty, because obviously they have not been the dynasty. And did any of these guys come close to doing that? And obviously the answer is no. Closest, if you want to say that there was any kind of success, it'd have to be the McCarthy years, and especially when they went 14-2 that year, so or something like they whatever it was at that time.
I mean, honestly, Wade Phillips minus the year that they lost to the Giants in the divisional round, he does have one playoff win as opposed to most of the other coaches here. So.
That is, and I always liked him. But I don't know how the Cowboys get back to that, and they've been doing it for over 30 years, trying to get back to that dynasty before those guys came to it.
Well, and the thing is, like as of right now, because the season hasn't started yet, but obviously, they're taking the right steps right now, and again. How much release will Jerry put on Schottenheimer? I think he deserves. I mean, for what he did last year for the team he had, he deserves a little bit longer release than he was given. Than he might be given in the long run. He's got 3 years. He's only got a 3-year contract. So, he has this. This year will probably show signs of whether or not Jerry considers re-signing him. But he's going to go into that final season before he ever re-signs him. So
yes,
because he wants more of the upswing than the downswing. But just out of curiosity, and I wish Bryce was here so we can ask him, because we're talking about what do the fans want with all this team? What do the Steelers want?
Yeah, exactly. And I was, that's why I send that to you. And again, I do wish Bryce was here, because depending on what you believe, leave that up for a second, because I'm actually going to play a clip, and I want that in the background. And I want you to listen to the clip, because it's we, that being the Couch Potato Sports Show, specifically Cuervo, Bryce, talked about exactly what this clip is, and I don't care about the rights and everything. This was what was said. It's 2 minutes. Take a look at
the Steeler fan. They had a Steeler fan survey, and they asked Steeler fans, "What are your feelings on Mike Tomlin's departure?" 75% of Steeler fans said, "I was ready for him to go," or "He should have left years ago." Steeler fans are glad it happened. The next question, agree or disagree, bringing back Aaron Rodgers for a second season was the right move. 42%, the largest percentage, either disagreed or strongly disagreed. I think you can argue either way on that. I think the fans in Pittsburgh are right. Third question. Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2017. That is a long time ago. What has been the biggest thing holding the team back? Quarterback play, coaching are 77%. So the fans want change. The fans are seeking change. The fans in Pittsburgh are clamoring for change. The fans see the issue. It's the ownership that doesn't. The Rooney family is not reading the room. In most instances, I'm going to trust ownership and a GM over a guy in the third deck. But the fans in Pittsburgh, I mean, the Steelers lost a great GM. He leaves, what do? Walk down the hallway and give it to a guy in the building. You know I hate that. I don't like it with coordinators. I don't like it with coaches. Got to do a global search. Steelers move off Mike Tomlin. What do? Hire a Pittsburgh guy. So the ownership is playing it safe. The fans, according to the survey, don't want to play it safe. They want big swings. Mike Tomlin should have been out years ago. Aaron Rodgers, don't love it. But what's been the problem? We can't get the quarterback right and the coaching thing. This is one of the I don't think you have to necessarily do what fans want you to do, but you got to listen to them. I mean, I've said for years, there's been criticisms I've had from fans, and I'm like, that's actually a good point. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to build my show around what crazy Larry on the interweb says, but you got to listen.
So, and the take was good. Normally, I don't want to listen to this guy. Colin's got respect, but I some of the times when he makes a point, I think he stretches to get to this point. But this point here about the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is not a joke. And I was talking about this 2 to 3 years ago, Cuervo, about where the fans were, and everybody was saying, "Shut up, Sonny, you don't even know what you're talking about." Just like Colin said, or listen to the ownership. Look what they've done. He's Rooney. He's got the Rooney rule. You see all the great things that the Pittsburgh Steelers have done as an organization, but now when you think about what the fans are talking about, whether or not they should be, heard or what they get, the more you start piling on the things that have not been successful, you got to go, well, heck, maybe the fans were right a little bit. But I mean, so Cuervo, if you're going to sit in Bryce's spot here, what do you think Bryce is looking at when he takes a look at the Steelers? Because I'm going to be honest. You say this all the time on this show. Who are you going to get? You got Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback now. So who are you going to get? Outside of being able to make that big splash and grabbing up somebody in free agency and or stealing a franchise quarterback from a certified team, Matthew Stafford to the Rams, and outside of that, what do you think that he would take a look at and say?
Well, I'm trying to think back of what Bryce talks about a lot. He does talk about quarterback play. I think he did like Tomlin as the coach. I think he liked it a lot, actually. So I think that's where maybe Bryce goes a little different compared to, based on what Cowherd was saying.
Right.
I mean, his biggest thing was quarterback play calling. He hated the play calling. And really having somebody that can be a playmaker for this team. I mean,
exactly.
They traded for DK Metcalf, and can you really say that trade worked out? I don't know. I guess it depends on what Steeler fan you ask. Either it was great, or not quite worth what they traded away to get him. Now you got Michael Pittman comes in as the number 2 guy, and we'll see if it makes a difference. With McCarthy being there now, I'm not sure who their OC is, but I can't remember. I don't know if it's still Arthur Smith, but I'd be interested to seeing how this is going to play out with Rodgers coming back again. I think there's a certain standard, and this is not in a bad way. I'm saying this, but I do think that there's a certain standard that Steelers fans and the organization themselves are used to, and I think
Yes.
I think the ownership has gotten away from that a little bit. I think Collins, one of his biggest points to me was that they're just playing it safe. When have we ever known the Steelers to play it safe?
Exactly. Yeah.
They've been an organization that, when after Bill Cowher retired, you had to really know the league to know who Mike Tomlin was at that time.
I thought it was Omar Epps.
We all know now who he was. He was Tampa Bay's defensive coordinator, but that wasn't necessarily a name that was well known or was popular at the time. Maybe you guys can speak better on it than I can, but I don't remember Mike Tomlin as a name back then. But they took a swing. And we lost Sonny. They took a swing on him, and I mean, you got what you got. And so he brings up a great point about that the fans want the big swing because that's what they're used to. They're used to their organization taking those chances and upholding a certain standard. Right now, they're not doing it. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Cuervo. But then you got to ask. You said it, and I thought it was interesting how you said it. Is are they living up to that standard or are they not? And that depending on what you're looking at and how you're looking at it, I could see how people would say that they're not living up to the standard anymore. But I can also see where somebody says, well, that standard, whatever it is, they're not willing to change the standard with the times. And Podfather and I talked about this last week with one Andy Reid being able to change with the times, being able to do what it is in order to communicate to these young guys. Because believe me, that can't be easy. So was that a problem? What was the fact they weren't living up to the standard enough, or were they sticking to the standards that might be too old school that won't work into the future of the next couple of years? I don't know. What do you think, Father?
No, I mean the thing is, I think you run into this issue of currently with the Steelers. You have a quarterback who is very much LeBron James like, and by way of diva like,
Yeah.
You have so you can't get your offensive leader to get on board with everything you got in place. Now you're gonna have him play under a former head coach that he may or may not like, and again, the Steelers defense has always kind of been the backbone of that team. Have they done enough to fix that? It's not like the NFC North is a hard division to win. Browns, Bengals, Steelers, and Ravens. And the Ravens fell off the earth last year. So I mean, things can happen for the Steelers in a good way.
Right.
But their problem is that I don't think they have the right voice in that locker room for the last couple of years, for that matter. Even with Aaron Rodgers being there, because I don't think he is a voice in that locker room. So I mean, again, this is where what the Steeler Nation wants may not be what they get for a long time, even with the new coach. And we all know how the Steelers are about changing out head coaches. I mean, they'll hold on to someone until 9 days almost. But this could be. I mean, I think Mike McCarthy can take a team and win with them. I think he really can do that. He did that with the Packers. He could have done that with the Cowboys had he had a general manager. and if he had a fresh Dak Prescott for at least one of those years, at least the first year when he had him, when he was under that before he got hurt. Because again, you aren't going to win with Andy Dalton. So, but I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be the right fit, and that's the thing. Who would be the right fit for a team like the Steelers? Would that be a hard ass coach like a Parcells, or do they need a players coach like a Pete Carroll? So I don't know. I'm not sure. Mike Tomlin was more of a players coach, I believe, but for players that he liked and players that liked him, not so much that players who were just on the team. So, and again, free agency does that to every team out there. So, again, it's a good question about what do the fans want? Because again, having to sit here with Bryce and have him explain what he would want as a fan, I can't wait to ask him. Because I think you should save that for down the road when we bring him back on here, because that's the $1 million question. You get that with Cowboy fans, you get that with a lot of diehard fans who've had dynasties before. What do we want now? Because we don't have a dynasty right now. What do we want? And I think for the most part, we want to be competitive. We want to be in the conversation. We don't want to be an afterthought like the Jaguars have been, or the Browns, or Cuervo, you know how the Bears have been over time. They've been an afterthought for a long time until Caleb Williams came on that team, and before they started showing signs of life. Mm-hmm. So, to be in the conversation is more important than just winning a championship right now. Because look at the Seahawks; they were never in the conversation at all until last year. Hell, Sam Darnold was never in the conversation until the last 2 years. So you get these guys who have the right time, the John Cena song, "Your time is up, my time is now" type thing. This is where they need to set in on that. And the Steelers are one of those teams that strong Northeast vibe up there, that media, not as harsh as Philadelphia, but clearly it's, a Pittsburgh Steeler win goes a lot farther than a Pittsburgh Steeler loss.
Oh, God, really? Exactly.
So
I agree.
So that's my thoughts.
Well, interestingly enough, obviously the Steelers and what they bring as the dynasty, right? The dynasty that is the Steelers, and that was brought up. Now, I think when I look at it, I think there is one piece for what has happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers as of late comes out in one thing. And of course, my screen goes completely down. It takes a minute for my screen to reset. But
which one do you need?
No, I'm not gonna. What I'm saying is that when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll ask Bryce this when he gets there, what do you think the problem is in reality? In the Tomlin world, was it too much tradition? Was it not enough tradition? What do you honestly think was the problem? Because I've got the idea. I think I know what the problem is. So I want to find out from you. So Cuervo, what do you think the problem in reality is in Pittsburgh?
I think you kind of said it earlier, Sonny, where it comes down to it's not necessarily the standard that's when I was talking about standard, I'm talking about wins and losses, playoffs, and things like that. Now, what goes into setting that standard, I think, is the the problem with the Steelers right now, and you mentioned it. I think that maybe the Rooney family is still living in the
Dark
90s,
ages.
2000s version of football, and the pocket passer, which for the most part they do win. However, I do think that there is a shift coming where you got to have a dual threat type quarterback. And Sam Darnold is not a dual threat. However, why Seattle won last year was mostly their defense. I mean, their defense was leaps and bounds better than everybody else in the league. Even comparing them to Houston, like Houston was very good at the end, but they weren't at Seattle's level. That defense is why they won the Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Like, I mean, they rattled Drake May, they rattled Brock Purdy in the playoffs, they rattled even Matthew Stafford. They held him off. I mean, they made a run at the end, but I mean, they held some of the better offenses and shut them down. I mean, they destroyed the 49ers.
Yep.
And they destroyed the Patriots. So, and that's not taken away from Sam Darnold, but you go back and you look at teams that don't have that dominant type defense, like Kansas City, where you have to rely on your quarterback, and that's the type of quarterback that is going to be winning Super Bowls for a while. Is a dual threat. It's not just a pure pocket passer anymore, like it was back when Troy Aikman was winning and Steve Young and even Peyton, Tom Brady, like, yeah, Brett Favre. I mean, so those guys. No disrespect to them, but that time is come and gone.
No, I think we can.
The Steelers need to find themselves a good young dual threat quarterback.
I'll be all for disrespecting Brett Favre. Go ahead.
But yeah, gotcha. Here's what I want you to look at. Okay. Since 2014, the Pittsburgh Steelers have made strong regular season record. That's that thing, wonderful. 110 and 62 or 67 and 2 overall. And so that's what they were through the 2025 season. Good, better, and different. Well, let's compare that from 2004 to 2014. Look at the number. The only difference is 7 wins. Okay, but what's the difference outside of that? Winning 2 Super Bowl champions, 4 AFC division champions, and reaching the postseason 7 times. So the answer to the question that I'm putting out to you, the answer to me is very easy. And Cuervo, you touched on it a little bit. As far as what the defense is all about, this is really simple. They lost LeBeau. They lost their defensive guy. They lost their how do you say it? They lost their blueprint on their defense when they lost Dick LeBeau in 2014. Because the difference is not much on the wins and losses, but it's what they did in games that couldn't get them to the Super Bowl, couldn't get them to win playoff play. Whatever Dick LeBeau's blueprint got them from the season to the postseason to win Super Bowls, to win championships. Hey, say whatever you want about Ben Roethlisberger. That defense is what was known to be what it was. Obviously, it's not Steel Curtain of the 70s, but it sure was Dick LeBeau's defense that really kept them in games and won the vital games. No one cares about if the Pittsburgh Steelers can beat the Cleveland Browns. They care about if they can win playoff games or win enough games to make the playoffs. Dick LeBeau was a big part of that, and when they lost him to Tennessee, when he decided he would go over to Tennessee, that we have not seen the same Pittsburgh Steeler defense since. Now, they've had good players, but the system, it just is not there anymore. And I think that is it. I mean, the numbers show it. Well, hold on. The numbers show that there is no difference as far as regular season, but the Super Bowls, the playoff championships, and things of that sort, all up underneath the guy that put it together during that time.
And it could have been worse. I mean, the Steelers could have picked up what's the name, Eberflus, and they could have suffered with that.
Yeah, but you see the
Damn you, Cuervo.
2014. You see the difference since 2014. It's about coach. Say, hey, Tomlin was a part of, and I'm not even taking anything away from Tomlin. I mean, Tomlin was the defensive guy, right? He's the defensive coach, but he had his daddy, that being Dick LeBeau, teaching him in reality during that time how the game has changed, and that is the difference because they got new defensive coordinators that don't understand what that change is all about. At least that's my side of it when I look at it. Now, did Dick LeBeau have success in Tennessee? No, but that's not even necessarily the point when you've seen the success that they had when he was there. And even his last year, they were a good football team. So it's just like, it's amazing how one piece of, the whole defense, and it's not even the players, it's the guy that leads those players and teaches them how to be the players they need to be in order to win games defensively. Because Cuervo, like you said, no one was beating Seattle with that defense. No one. It just wasn't going to happen. I wanted them not to win, just to prove the point. But man, they just proved the point that defense wins championships, and not only that, they had a couple exclamation points on the end of that.
Yeah. So I mean, I get what you're saying, Sonny. However, there's nothing you can do about losing Dick LeBeau. Like the guy wasn't going to coach forever. You know what I mean? So
yep.
Right.
So you just you enjoy the time while he's there, and you just hope that you can find the next guy. Because I mean, Dick LeBeau's a once in a generation type defensive coordinator.
Agreed.
I mean, I could say the same thing about, the Bears haven't been good since '85 because Buddy Ryan left. Like,
well, that's true.
Well, but there's only one Buddy Ryan. There's only one guy that can coach a defense like he did. I mean, created a whole defense, in Chicago that is still beloved to this day. But Dick LeBeau, it's the same thing. I mean, that's a guy that you get once every 30 years, in the NFL, let alone in Pittsburgh. So, Seattle
how it didn't look on the next person though. That's again, same thing with the Bears is what you're talking about. Why it didn't rub off? Who wasn't paying attention? Who wasn't part of the plan when he was there to where they could take what he gave out each and every year? What was it?
Well, I'll tell you this. Chico Rivera, when he was the defensive coordinator with the Bears, that's the year they went to the Super Bowl. He was the DC, so he obviously paid attention, But some guys are just meant to do the job, and some guys aren't. Mike Singletary, I don't even know if he was a DC ever. He went straight to being a head coach in San Francisco. Yep. And didn't quite work out the way they were hoping. So, I think Seattle, they got really lucky, blessed, because they went from Pete Carroll, a guy that can coach some defense despite what you may think of him, to McDonald, who they have now. And so they've had two guys that can coach up some good defense. There's not a lot of other teams that have been that fortunate to have back-to-back type coaches there in Seattle that can coach elite defense or even offense on the Kansas City over with Kansas City Chiefs. So
that's a good point too.
Yeah, so I mean the Steelers are in a place that nobody, especially Steeler fans, are used to, but you look around, teams go through it all the time. They're trying to find the right quarterback. They're trying to find the right coach and coordinators, and for everything to come together. It's just the Steelers haven't had that problem in how long? And so, now the sky is falling because the Steelers are in a place that 20 other teams are in consistently, and sometimes even worse. Like we mentioned earlier, we talked about the Browns and the Jets. I mean, those teams have been looking for 40 years now for who's going to be the savior of that franchise. And
Difference makers.
30, 40 years later, they still haven't found it. The Steelers have been going through hard times for the past, maybe 10 years now since Roethlisberger's retired. Well, 5 years since Roethlisberger retired. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, my God, the Steelers are – oh, my God, what happened to them? The same thing that other teams have been going through.
Growing pains.
But when you think about it, this is where fan bases are setting their ways up.
Price is spoiled. That's the point.
I mean, this is where they get set in their ways because you can be a Jets fan and just know that failure is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Did you see the viral video about the guy, the kid that's going in there? He said, "What do you think about this? Is this the same crap? I was born into this shit." Is
Right.
what he said.
Right.
It was
So,
funny.
I mean, again, this is where teams lose their fan base because they do nothing. I mean, the Texas Rangers for the longest time. I mean, they have devout Ranger fans who just are bleed the team, but they've had nothing to show for how many years?
Very good point.
Until not too long ago. I mean, until they went to 2 straight World Series and lost them, at least they went. Now the question was, can they win one? They finally won one. So, it takes momentum in a good way for the fan base to say this is what we want our team to be. Jets fans can sit there and say, I hope my God our team can do something this year. Hope we win more than 6 games. That's not a hell of a goal to set your team expectations by. Let's win 7 games this year, guys. Let's be 7-10, and we'll feel like it's a success for us. No. I mean, you have to.
Well, isn't that really the way it's kind of built? I mean, I'm sorry. If you're the Jets and you're the Jets organization and coaching on there, you can't expect to walk in there to be that Super Bowl contender. It's got to start with the 7-10. It's got to, and realistically, you got to have that. Hold on, not that. Realistically, you got to have that within the organization in order for that to happen, or if you're going to live on illusions of grandeur, it's got to start somewhere.
But here's the thing: it has to start with the ownership, right? It has to start with the ownership. Who looks to the general manager and says, "This is what we need to succeed," and general managers got to put those pieces in place to make this see for their coach. Generally, that's the rule of how it goes, right? Have the Jets done that in the last since 1969? I'm sure they think they have. I mean, they got close to Parcells, but at the end of the day, you have to capitalize on that, and they've never been able to capitalize. Whereas Steeler fans who have grown up with this stuff, do you have a fan blowing on you because your shirt is waving like a flag?
I have a fan.
Okay,
A little warm.
you got the Wolverine thing, going whatever.
No, it's my pet. It's my
Try doing that on your own, sir.
Anyway,
distracting is fun. But,
I'm sorry.
No, look. Teams like the Bears, teams like the Steelers, teams like the Cowboys, teams like the 49ers, they've seen success recently. Cowboys not so recently because 30 years, but they know what it tastes like at least the owner does. And that may be the goal that he's really wanting to get back to. In Jerry's case, he's doing it at his cost, not anybody else's. But the Steelers have the means. The thing is that how when you keep a head coach in there for 20-something years, and you get the results that you just laid out right there, at what point will enough be enough? I mean, I like the fact that they don't just switch coaches every 5 years. at the same time, yeah, I think you have to at least have a little something more to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And Tomlin, I mean, they switched out a mic for another mic. That's what they did. So let's see if it works for him. I can't wait to see how Bryce handles this on a week-to-week basis. I know when he comes in, if the Steelers win or lose, if it's good enough or it's not good enough for him. I cannot wait to see all this from him because let's face it, boys, we getting close. We getting really, really close. Training camp is right around the corner, and I know you're excited. I'm excited. I'm looking more forward to what this Dallas defense is going to do this year compared to last year because I knew what the hell it was going to happen.
Most
last
teams' training camp starts this week.
year.
This week, yeah, Monday, tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we kind of let the cat out of the bag here, Cuervo. I did it by accident, but we've already nominated Sonny's first ever Sonny Hall of Famer.
Yes, we did. There it
Yeah.
is.
There he is.
Yeah. Ryan Tannehill.
That is the Sonny guy right there.
The Sonny guy, the
sorry.
first
award goes
ever
to
Sonny
Ryan
guy.
Tannehill.
You got the wrong guy on the first one, but I do love me some Ryan Tannehill. I know it has nothing
This
to
is
do
not
with
about you, sir. Although
I
your
know.
name is on your name is on
No,
the
no,
awards.
his name. Wait, it's
Don't
not
worry,
about me.
the best is yet to come, Sonny. You can't give out the big award first. Like you got.
I knew I should have never given him your telephone number. I knew it. Just anyway. But that being said, I'm looking at you just mentioned something that just popped in my brain. We have Art Rooney, but also one thing that we forgot about, it's not Art Rooney that's running the team now. Art can hardly get up out of bed, never mind run a football team. It's his son that's doing it now. So handing down the reins of everything, that's something to think about. Now, since we got the Podfather getting up, he probably needs to take a break, which is the reason why he left. You got time for a break here, Cuervo, and so you can get refilled and come back.
I got a little bit more time, not too much.
Okay, so you want to take okay. So let's do this. Because there's a couple other things I want to talk to you about before you get out of here. And I don't know if you've seen it. I'm gonna put this up. Yeah, John Gruden's biggest regret of his career. I don't know if you had the opportunity to read it, hear about it, but his biggest regret is how the situation was handled with Antonio Brown. That having been said, of course, that's the name of the show. When you look at that whole thing that happened regarding Antonio Brown and what he was bringing to the Raiders, is that one to say, hey, yeah, that was probably a mistake? Was it a mistake, or how do you think Gruden looks at that situation compared to other players that he actually brought into the team outside of Antonio Brown? And then my question is was it really him that brought Antonio Brown in, or was that an ownership move? Now, granted, when that happened, Gruden was under that 10-year, $10 million a year, $100 million contract that he signed, which was crazy at the time.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how that thing fell apart in the first place.
Started with the balloon. Bring Antonio Brown coming into training camp in a balloon. So it kind of started out crazy in reality, which is what it was. And then, and then it became the Antonio Brown show, which was. I wonder if there was a way that John Gruden was going to be able to do. Like if John Gruden goes back and say, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that, would have helped. And I just wonder, based off of the player, if that would have been able to make a difference.
That's hard to say, Sonny. I mean, I wonder why after all this time now Gruden comes out and I did he recently say this? I don't know. I haven't heard him
He
say
said
it.
it on a podcast. Someone asked him on a podcast what his biggest regret was while he was there, and I thought it would be a different answer, but he went to Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, well, then, I mean, yeah, that surprises me too that he answered like that. You know, it's hard to say, man, because like at the time, Antonio Brown was considered what
Oh yeah,
my top two, top three
shit.
receivers in the league. I mean, he was the man, and you know, I guess Pittsburgh, his time came to an end there for whatever reason. Tomlin had enough of his BS, you know,
Hmm.
going Facebook Live, Instagram Live in the locker room.
Yeah,
Um, but what I would say is, I mean, you look back and I get maybe he could have gave him more of benefit of the doubt as far as trying to get to know him a little better. Maybe that would have been a good thing for Gruden to do instead of just, you know, going ape shit on him for his sideshows
BS.
that he was doing. Because I think that's where, sometimes coaches and just leaders they make the mistake of judging somebody right away, even with someone that has baggage. But it takes a certain kind of guy, take a certain kind of coach to be able to handle those type of guys. Prime example, first one that comes to my mind is Phil Jackson when Dennis Rodman came in. I mean, he
Yeah,
was
good
he was
point.
a guy that, he rubbed people the wrong way or whatever, but Phil had the patience to get to know Dennis, really understand him, and really work with him. And I think maybe that's what Gruden feels. He feels like I should have gave him more of an opportunity instead of just saying the hell with this guy, with all his antics or whatever. And I think sometimes that's why guys, act out the way they do, because in their mind, oh, nobody understands them. Nobody wants to get to, you know, they judge whatever. And
Yeah.
part of it might be true. But like I said, I mean, maybe that's where Gruden, feels like he could have did a better job, was just kind of being more patient, getting and trying to get to know Antonio and understand him better.
Yeah, and that understanding is hard. He noted that his work ethic wasn't good. His route running and the precision of those route running wasn't good, and it made him believe that the offense, made him believe the offense was not going to be able to gel and do what it needed to do. That's the idea of what it was. Now that having been said, we go back and I hate this. God, I'm going to say it, but some guys you just can't do that with. Some guys you have to do things differently with. And I'm obviously Antonio Brown is one of those guys you got to do things differently. And I hate that, but because it means that he's getting preferential treatment compared to the other 50 some odd guys that are on the football team. That's where my personal problem goes to. But we've seen on many occasions where when they don't get that special treatment or behavior, you see him fall off, and you did see that. Now Gruden was being a son. Gruden was like, well, if you can't put your heart and soul into this and in practice, and your route running, looks like hell. I'm not even going to deal with this. And that being said, Antonio Brown didn't even play it down for the Raiders. They took care of that before the season started. So I wonder if he thinks, that being John Gruden, I wish I did a little bit of preferential treatment in order so we could have maybe seen what could have been more so than that. Go ahead, Potfather.
It's funny because you mentioned about John Gruden having regrets. I think the only one coach I could think of that will never have any regrets for anything he ever did would probably be Bill Parcells.
That was the name I was thinking.
because like everything, because he comes from the Bobby Knight way of coaching, and how you know it's his way or the highway, regardless of win, lose or draw. Things happen for a reason because of this, and I can't regret what I didn't do, or I regret what I could have had, or whatever else. And like I wonder, because like Gruden says he got some regrets. I'm sure every coach out there's got regrets on what they could have done to make their team better. But then again, I throw it back onto the general manager part. For those who have general managers who are not head coaches, how much more could you have done if your general manager wasn't willing to move for you? How much could you have done on your team if you're stacked with guys who are B-level players, but you need to go against an A-level defense? There's always going to be that. So, for Gruden, I feel bad for the guy because he kind of got himself out of the NFL, knocked himself out of the NFL based of his own actions. But a guy like Antonio Brown, at the time he was uncoachable. He was unlivable for that matter.
What?
So I think he's beating himself up way too hard for something like that.
Well, I think his regret is what could have been if he was able to overlook the crap until you got to week one and see what would have happened during game. Because let's be honest, we all know players that have been in the league for years and training camp and running routes and the things that you would think they would bust their ass to do, they get sick of doing it because let's be honest, when you look at Antonio Brown, that's not what you're thinking, what happens in practice. You're thinking about what he does on the football field during a game. And unfortunately, those are two different things. They're huge. But coaches like John Gruden don't think that. Heck, you can even say that about one of your head coaches that were there outside of Bill Parcells. You could say that about Jimmy Johnson. The only problem is that Jerry Jones had complete control over that kind of thing. So that's where the regret comes in. Probably, I think it's just, man, if we could have got to the regular season, seen what he'd do. But now, before Cuervo's got to go, I want to get him on this last thing before we could go. Cuervo, it's a big story. I think, and I'll put it out there, I think the Rams are the team to beat in the NFL this upcoming season. I'm not the only one that is saying it, so it's not too insane. But if you look at what Aaron Donald brings after they brought in Garrett, and I looked into the little bit of the backstory on why Aaron Donald said enough is enough. It was week 17. It was the grind, so to speak, through a season that he lost the passion of playing football. And I got to say, Cuervo, I never thought that would be Aaron Donald. I never thought that would be. So it just goes to show that you may be the biggest superstar in the world, but you can do a total 180 on anybody's ass, and then all of a sudden you're left in a lurch. And that's what kind of happened. The Rams have been able to kind of, be able to cover for that a little bit with bringing in different guys and things of that sort. But man, when you're only getting 70% of Aaron Donald from other guys, that 30% is so evident in what he does. So now they're trying to get him back, trying to see if he can get to that level. Is it that last week of the grind that's getting it? Or do you say, hey, why don't you come in week 4 or 5 and then do it and see if we can get the grind there? I wonder how that is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen with Aaron Donald as far as the Rams is concerned? Do you expect them to be on the field?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it doesn't happen. Just because I think if it was going to, it probably would have already. But then again, a lot of guys don't like doing training camp. So maybe he's waiting until training camp is over or until they're like in the preseason to say, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe I will. Yeah, I'll give it another. Yeah, I'll give it one last season, maybe two.
Yeah.
I don't know. But my thought right now, my feeling, it's leaning more towards it probably won't happen.
What do you think, Podfather, when you look at it?
Well, because the NFL has always been trying to expand to 18 weeks of regular season play, and that's burned a lot of players in a lot of different directions. Because again, that's more chance for injury. That's more chance for, for the same money for more games that matter.
Right.
And owners aren't willing to budge contract-wise with them to compensate them for the extra games. Of course, this also means more travel to international games as well for most other teams who don't even take these trips on a regular basis. So that's a lot to ask, guys who, again, they're already playing more games than they ever played in college. So now you're asking let's just add one more, and sometimes, you have to draw that line. This is why the union acts the way they act sometimes, because listen, I know you want to run us into the ground until you're done with us, but at the same time, well, I'll be right back, guys.
No agrees.
Yeah, I guess. Like, damn. The puppy is making the noise. He's tearing it up.
Yeah, right.
Having been said, so I don't know. I would love to see Aaron Donald back out on the football field, Cuervo. I love his drive. Well, if he can get back to that level, because I love this drive. I love what it was all about for him when he played. Aaron Donald was the best defensive lineman for a long time out there in reality. So, and for him to totally do the 180, get out on top as well. Congratulations, got the Super Bowl, and then he went out on top. That's always a pretty good thing as well. But yeah, I would love to see Aaron Donald back out on the football field.
Hey, before we let Cuervo go, Cuervo, you don't smile enough, I don't think, on this show, and it bothers Sonny a lot. You can tell.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm the one that brought it up? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, you probably messaged me last night about this. And, so he wanted to put together a deal for you so you can sit there and talk about, maybe get a kick out of it because we know how much you love this team. And that's this one right here. See, there
I didn't bring it up. I did not bring it up because I know he doesn't give a rat's fat hairy ass about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their financial stability or lack of.
That's not Pittsburgh, jackass. That's the Packers.
It's Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay. That's what I meant. Forget it. That's what I meant.
Again, to see his team of hate. To see him smile over their woes and the fact that they don't financially know how to make this thing work, I figured that'd bring a smile to Cuervo's face. Cuervo, go ahead and take it. The floor is yours, go ahead.
It always does. Anytime the Packers are drowning in mediocrity, that's always going to put a smile on my face. So
and problems.
No Micah Parsons for half the season at least. Jordan Love. He loves turning the ball over. What else? They got rid of half of their wide receiver room, so I
think that's going to be the problem, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got another guy that could potentially go to jail. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So, yeah, oh
my God.
Yeah, I guess I don't realize. I guess I don't realize that I always got the frown going on, but it's not in a bad way. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy being here.
No, man, it's that intense thinking, man. It's just it's Marine in you. You weren't meant to smile for 20 years.
That's also true.
So, all right, my man. You got it. So, all right, my man. I know you got a bail. Always good to see you. What's your schedule looking like for next week? Do you got a time, or you got something going on, or should we? And when we're gonna? offline, we need to figure out when we're going to start doing the divisions based upon that and stuff. So we'll figure that out if you want to do that online. Yep, 4 of them. Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yeah,
we got
give me a day or two, and then we'll talk.
We'll check it out. Always good to see you, my friend. The fine co-host of this program here on the Couch Potato Sports Show.
All right, guys.
So, all right. Hasta luego. Hey, I did send a message to Bryce to get his ass on. He didn't answer, but he was out there, doing his thing with the music, and Keith Sweat, which is about the only name that he's been going to see that I actually knew.
He's coming to the Star Hero in November.
I know, he's always out there. He's been out there a couple of times. So, all right, my man, be good. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. But the break is something different. The break is about relationships. It's about being in a relationship during the NFL.
Josh, we'll be here any minute. Thank you guys so much again for setting us up. This has been like the best 8 months of my life.
Are you kidding? My best friend is dating my husband's brother. This is like a dream scenario. I'm so excited for you guys.
And I am so excited for tomorrow.
What are you guys doing tomorrow?
Oh, no, not us. Josh and I. Football season starts tomorrow. Just coming over to watch a game.
I finally have someone to hang out with during football season.
Sorry, Josh and I actually have plans tomorrow. It's like our date night, so...
Right, but football is on.
Right, but it's our date night. No offense, but we actually like hanging out with each other, and nothing is going to change that. Not even football. So.
I thought the same thing when Adam and I first started dating. Then I made the mistake of asking him to hang out during the first game of the year. He pretended to be so consumed with the TV that he couldn't see me.
She finally got so annoyed by me ignoring her that she stormed off, and I was able to make it to Josh's in time for the fourth quarter.
That was the night I learned no matter how much a man loves you, for the next 18 weeks, we are not a priority. But it's okay, because I got us Jonas Brothers tickets. What do you say?
Okay, babe. Dinner is ready.
But already, anytime that we're
Babe?
seeing that inside move, we're seeing it Rodgers jumping off that spot. But look at this. This is a bomb.
What are you doing? It's date night, remember?
Yes! Oh, yes!
Salmon is ready and on the table for you, babe. Doesn't the salmon smell so good, babe?
First down, marking Quentin Johnston. Third-year man, and Herbert. 3rd and 3. Watt screaming off the edge at the bottom.
Whenever you're ready, babe. Salmon's here, smells so good. It's fresh, catch of the day.
Trash! Utter fucking trash.
God damn it. Excuse me, I just gotta grab something over here. Ow! Ow! My ankle! Ah! I think that's my meniscus. Ow! I think it's broken. Oh, it's definitely, there's a tear. Ow! Ow! Ooh.
Get up! Get up! Come on, dude, you're not even hurt.
I'm pregnant?
It was
with
the
twins?
side, the move exactly the same.
And they're not Josh's?
Back in there, Rodgers
Thank
right
God! Yes, finally a touchdown.
Back into the end zone.
Well, I guess it's time for bed. But first, hope you don't mind if I
the leg or the hip of Troy Fortanu.
Pay attention to
tackle.
me.
As he was coming back.
Look over here.
Conkey in motion, the throw is
Ooh.
incomplete.
Oh,
Into the hands of Johnston.
Go! Come on!
21.
Finally.
Going to go up top side inside.
Can't watch football if there's no power, can you? So weird. There must have been a power outage. Guess we're gonna have to have that romantic dinner after. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. You know what?
Are you kidding me? We're done. Hello?
What?
You're wearing a Cowboys hoodie?
You got this because it has Star on it.
This is all I have, and you ruined it. Why are you still here? Go. And that was it. I broke up with her.
What? You were supposed to just ignore her long enough that she didn't ask to hang out during the game so that we could watch the game together.
So that I would have someone to hang out out with and wouldn't have to suffer through another football season alone.
The plan was not for you to get so annoyed that you break up with her.
She crossed the line, didn't she? Did she do the fake injury thing? You hated the fake injury thing.
Was it the pregnancy scare?
It was worse. She had a Cowboys hoodie on.
You made the right decision.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Tramp.
Shut up and sit down.
I love it. I found that and fell out of my chair. It was so funny because that was me. That's what I am. Listen, this is 18 weeks. There's 54 or 52 weeks in a year. I won 18 of them. Leave me alone. And it's only one day. Let's do it on Saturday. Let's do it. Come on now.
Listen, let's be honest here. He outkicked his coverage with her a long time ago, okay?
No kidding, right?
I mean, him growing that beard is almost as bad as when I try to grow a beard, okay? It's not that great. I mean,
a neck beard is horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, see, I've had the, like, I was shaved under here, but then, like, oh my, their fat hair would kind of show out. And, yeah,
yep.
Just like, I kind of give up on it. But,
yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No.
I mean, it's important to find, look, and not that I'm an expert at this because I'm currently, on my own here, but if you get a relationship with with a girl or a guy or whatever, and they like the NFL or trying to get you to like the NFL, listen, you sit through how many romantic movies with them? You sit through how many Jennifer Lopez, Ellen situations, or we'll have to sit there and fake laugh at the Kelly Clarkson show or whatever. That's all well and good, okay? Then they at least owe you that, okay? It's not like they're asking you to sit there and watch NASCAR with them.
Yeah, it's football. Then there's a difference.
Yeah, guess what? If you don't like the game, you have a phone. Play games on your phone. Get engaged if you're engaged. Find a team if you want to find a team. But don't take that away from us. Because we give you so much. Give us back so little. Okay?
Yes, that's right.
You said 18 weeks. We give you the preseason.
Yeah, we don't even watch preseason. I don't watch unless I'm by myself. I don't even watch preseason.
If it's on, great. It's in the background. It's not them.
Yeah,
glued to
white noise.
Because guess what Kelly Clarkson show is? White noise does. Okay?
Oh, well, the poor girl. I got a lot to say about her, but I won't. But never impressed with the Kelly Clarkson show. Watched it twice. And Drew Barrymore's is at least I can stomach it.
I mean,
but not much.
But listen, both those shows are going off the air soon, so it's all well and good. I mean,
is Drew's going on?
I think hers is going off as well because daytime talk shows are not really the thing anymore. No one's paying attention.
Oh no, man, that was big back in the '90s, boy. Daytime TV.
But the thing is that they have their place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a place for Sylvester Stallone to take him and his family out to promote the damn CBS show they got going on. Which, more power to them. I mean, it's an avenue to promote. That's all it is. And to see
all about promotion, baby. All about promotion.
Listen, to see Drew Barrymore on her own show with the cast of ET, to see how old Henry Thomas has become and how god ugly his brother's become, and just and Spielberg talking to everybody about how making the movie was an emotional thing for him and his family because every movie he does is like something to do with his family. So I get it. It's a time and place for all that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't make it a point to sit and watch it. Kind of with the ESPN thing we talked about earlier, nobody really sits down and say, "I can't wait for first take. Bring it on."
Some do. Just because you don't. Not that I don't.
But having people on a daily basis sit there and go, Don't talk to me right now. First take is on. Okay, I got
Well,
this.
yeah, that to that extent, yeah.
Right. So I mean, and again, YouTube has made it refreshing for everybody to go back and watch the highlights.
Mhm.
So, and plus, if you have the ESPN2 app or whatever, then you could do it on there as well. So, that's why I understand the whole thing about ratings nowadays, because everything you stream everything now. Where are you getting ratings from?
I don't know how they do it, but they evidently do it because I've heard them talk about it.
I still using the Nielsen boxes that are really irrelevant nowadays. This is why shows aren't lasting as long as they should, because no one gives them a chance.
No, that could be. So yeah, that was great. One of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. And I figured that's what we would do the break for to go. Now, that having been said, of course, that's the name of our show. We got some things to talk about. And you sent me the pictures. By the way, you sent me the pictures, and I looked at them. And this was along the lines of what was going on regarding TNA and what we were talking about, the show, behind the scenes kind of thing. And there's one person that I actually listen to, and I believe him 90% of the time, and that's Eric Bischoff. I listen to him. I'll watch his show on YouTube whenever he comes on, whenever it comes up in a reel. I usually sit and I listen to him about the things that happened back in the day when he was running WCW. And I will say this, he's the only one I respect. And not only do I think he is right in this, she was 10 times better, because it's more about in reality when you're looking at that, it's storyline, and she at least tried to push the storylines outside of what's going on in AEW. The storylines last a week and a half, and then something else is going on. Long-term storylines, long-term rivalries in AEW is non-existent. And that's the problem with the show. But there's a niche for that. But I would love to see them get to that a little bit more, which makes me wonder. Big Show rumored to come back. What's his nose? Tess, not Tess.
Tess comes back. We got a story on our hands.
It's like, what's his name? The rated R superstar. The Edge. He might even come back. There's just been some talks. If you're listening or you're watching to see what's going on, you're seeing some. Then you even got the Bailey situation of her going over to AEW, which I don't think. I think that is the biggest mistake she'll ever make in her career.
I talked about that on my show last night.
Did you? And what was the give and take on that?
Well, she has three ways she can go. She can re-up with WWE. She can go to AEW and join Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, whatever her name is. Or she can just go away and take some time off. Do it, maybe take a few indie bookings. Maybe run another hold. Maybe go promote yourself. Go make yourself more valuable money-wise for a company to want to bring you in, kind of like what Cody Rhodes did. I mean, she has the means to do all that.
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. The thing is that Bailey's run was never a failure. I mean, she could have done NXT and help out down there with the women down there. I mean, there's a lot of things she could do. I don't think going to AEW is the best thing for her.
I don't think so either.
Mainly because they one and done the WWE superstars who come in there and they don't give them carte blanche to actually grow, because again, you got a lot of guys who came from WWE, like Chris Jericho, like Edge, like Christian, who kind of are sour on that product and want to make sure that, if you can't make it here in AEW, you just can't make it. And that's why, Ciampa is just, he thinks he's in the best place he's at. Good for him. He might be, because he wasn't doing shit in WWE.
Well, but that was creative. That was
that could also be him. That could also be him as well. Same thing I said about Jordan Grace. She's sitting at home, not doing a damn thing. What is she doing? What is she doing to call people up? Is she calling Triple H up and say, "Hey, what can I do to get on TV? Maybe I shouldn't wait on you. Maybe what can I do to? I'll go be someone's manager. I'll go be somewhere backstage so I can learn a little bit more about y'all's process, because I've not been a part of something this big ever." That's the thing. AEW is big enough for what they are, but they're not the global phenomenon that WWE is. Even though they've been overseas, they're not a phenomenon.
They try to be that global thing.
They can try. You can try in one hand and shit in the other one, see if you can fill it first.
It's not been successful.
And the thing is, as far as the whole thing you talked about with Eric Bischoff, listen, I have grown to appreciate Eric Bischoff through his podcast, because while I do think he does cover up for a lot of the mistakes that he has, they all do. I think he's probably more on top of the other side of the coin than most people will give him credit for.
Yep.
Now Dixie Carter, he worked with Dixie Carter, and he had a lot of leeway there. And he wasn't a booker; he was a talent, but he had a lot of leeway there to do.
Well, he was mainly just for Hulk, wasn't he? When he was over there, right?
He was there for Hulk. Hulk had more creative control to do what he wanted to do to help book the show. I understand this. You go back. That time when Hogan's there, at least it got interesting.
He did.
It may not have been great, but at least it got interesting. And for Tony Khan, to sit there and say if she's a better booker than Tony Khan, I wouldn't say booker. I think she's a better owner. Whoever booked the show at TNA, whether it was Jim Cornette or Vince Russo or Kevin Nash or Hulk Hogan or whoever was running the books then, at least they found a way to make it somewhat engaging for people. I'm not a big Vince Russo fan at all, so I know my buddy Mike got a chance to interview him not too long ago, but and I was more surprised he didn't grow him a whole lot. But the thing is that I think, and I hate to quote Jim Cornette on this because I think he's way too old school for even me.
I agree,
but I think he's right about one thing. If it's good, it's good. If it's shit, it's shit.
And you can usually smell it when you walk in the room.
And the thing is, when I look at AEW and I see the flippity flops and I see the no selling and I see the lack of character build and I see the lack of and I just see match after match after match. That's all I see.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about this several times. How many times in Sword do they have 10 matches and you forget what the hell the first match was? And whereas WWE does, they give you 6 matches, two that run on ESPN, and the other 4 are the ones that are for the premium live, right? So, it works. It works in the sense to where at least you remember what happened. At least they didn't overload you with so much shit of the same shit, by the way. Because that's what AEW does. One guy's got to flip here, one guy's got to flip there. They're both going to do the same stupid move where all 5 guys are lined up outside the ring and the guy does a springboard moonsault off the top rope and everybody just standing there waiting to catch him. It's the dumbest fucking thing ever, but yet they do it because, again...
And they do it even in WWE.
Because and I'll say it for a guy who liked your show today, Tony, he's into it. He loves that shit. Holy shit, this is awesome. That's what they want the fans to do. That doesn't mean you're over. That doesn't mean you have a care. Go back to Bayley. Bayley's over big time because she was able to bring she lured female wrestling fans into the game. That's the thing. She's a big part of that.
Big time.
Can't she do that at AEW? Will people follow her there? A few might, but not all. Because again, I think this kind of goes back to what Vince McMahon used to say about Diamond Dallas Page. My audience doesn't know Diamond Dallas Page. My audience knows our characters. And that was proven to be somewhat right in the case. Because you couldn't just bring the WCW Diamond Dallas Page into WWE, because what would that do? You know? That's why Buff Bagwell didn't really last the way he did. I mean, he only lasted not even a match. So, you know, I mean, there's only so much you can do with that. And, you know, I agree with her to an extent. I don't think she's a better booker, but I think she's a better owner.
Yeah.
And mainly because she had her daddy's money to play off of, and daddy was the end-all, be-all on that.
Well, and that only went so far until they got sick of it, and the fact that the money that was being spent was not getting any return in a positive way.
Which, by the way, how is that different from Tony Khan? He's got daddy's money.
Well, I don't know the difference between Tony Khan and Dixie Carter's daddy. I would have to probably say it's more. There's more over there. I mean, how long would that last? I mean, in reality, when you think about it, if it was so bad that it wasn't having any kind of return, how much would it last?
Think about this. The company started in 2002.
I forget what year. It's when
it was after the sale of WCW, which was 2000, which was 2001. So around 2002, 2003, TNA became a thing.
Oh, okay, TNA, yes.
Yeah. They're still going.
Yep.
Somehow, some way, you know, through all the trials and tribulations that company's gone through, they are still currently operating. AEW's been in business for
7 years.
7 years. Which one made more money in the first 7 years? See, that's what you have to look at, because how much has gone out by way of Tony Khan spending money to how much they brought in, and how much has TV contracts changed over time, and how much has the Time Warner Cable Paramount thing or whatever, the merger thing that's going on with HBO, how much does that play into I mean, that's different money. That's money that TNA never saw. So, you know, it's so unfair to compare them both, because both parameters were so different back in the day. But as far as the product on TV, listen, Dixie Carter had AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Frank Kazarian, Samoa Joe. They brought in Kurt Angle. They brought in Booker T. They brought in Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. They had Sting. They had major league
interest to pull for something to look at.
They had major league pull out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and a lot of guys who needed that to make that next big step. And at that time, the next big step
or at least bridge it to where they could get back.
Right.
You know, aces and eights. I mean, you look at aces and eights. That's the bridge for them to get back into the WWE. That being Bully Ray and all the people that were in there. By the way, there were some. Doc was in there. There's a lot of people in that that storyline. But you can't. AEW would not do an aces and eights. That was a 26-week program of that storyline. It was a long time compared to what kind of storyline that you're going to get over at AEW. And frankly, it was only, really, to be honest, probably the last one that I think even makes a difference on how they did it.
Well, AEW would do it in the span of 4 weeks.
Right. They'd have it done.
And then just drop it. You know, I'm just say, okay, well, the Young Bucks got the book now, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, again, this is where WCW ran those problems. The inmates ran the asylum back in the day.
Yeah, to a point.
That's somewhat what's going on in AEW. So let's see how long that lasts, as opposed to what we see on Unreal, where Triple H is sitting there with a board of guys talking about, you know, how to go forward.
And that's an interesting point because, and I know you hate when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. None of these folks would be relevant without Vince McMahon. None of them. But within the realm, times changing and how they go about that change and how much the talent is willing to work with that change. That's the reason why TNA has been so successful, because the guys they did bring in worked with that. Now, granted, when they brought in Angle, they paid money for Angle. By the way, in my humble opinion, that was his best wrestling years that I've ever seen him, as far as wrestling is concerned.
And the thing is, he was hurt too.
Oh, he was hurt. Yeah,
He was hurt and load up on everything, and just when he broke his neck against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, that started. I mean, it may have started back when he broke his neck in the Olympics, but I mean, that really tailspinned it.
Yeah,
it really tailspinned after Mania, and he started to tailspin after Mania, and then TNA gave him a reason to keep moving forward because Vince took it away from him. But Vince took it away from him for his own safety.
Yeah,
and the thing is that in using the wellness center and using the sources that he could to get better and finding a new wife. I mean, him and Karen broke up. Karen and Jeff, found each other, and that worked out well for everybody. I mean, they're all on the same page, so
right.
The storylines try to play it differently, but I mean, they're clearly on the same page. And again, sometimes. The reality of your life can be the best storyline sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Putting the personal aside and doing business. Listen, I bought the whole thing. Which is the reason why it was good TV at the time. I mean, I thought that was actually a real story. Obviously, I never thought it's not played out beforehand, but I also thought that it was the the actual thing happening more so than the work that they were doing in reality. Think about Diamond Dallas Page as well, and his wife Kimberly fell for the whole thing. I mean, in reality, but the simple fact of the matter is that life creates those stories that the WWE has taken advantage of over many, many decades. In reality, that personal story becomes an actual story within the realm. Macho Man, all that.
Speaking of stories, I saw you have this on here, so I'll go promote it. I'm creating it right now, so it's going to be a while before it comes out. But this is one of the matches that we threw this. How would you book this? And I've changed the name of it to Fantasy Booking. I'm going to do my own little show with it on the Podfather channel. It's going to be an AI-based story, which is a faceless thing. It's going to tell the story of how we get that one match. And I've got some things I've got this match. I've got Hulk Hogan versus Nikita Koloff. I've got, what if, let me look at it real quick. And this is all going to be kind of a, how could we've ever gotten to this? Fantasy booking, Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. Owen Hart versus Bryan Danielson. Austin versus Hogan. Austin versus Goldberg. Eddie Guerrero versus Scott Hall. CM Punk versus Randy Savage. Chris Benoit versus Cesaro. China versus Rhea. Triple H versus MJF. The Triple H has an attitude there. And just little things I'm putting together. It's called fantasy booking. It's all it is. And I'm putting together a story that'll tie into the reality that actually did happen eventually. Like I have an idea of one that takes place in 1986. How Hogan had just beaten the King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 2. And yeah, 2. And then to find out that Ivan Koloff, he wants to bring the title back to the Koloff family because he held it at one time. And Nikita, who was hot at that time, comes in with the help of Bundy and puts a beating onto Hogan. But then it turns out the big match smile of all this was Andre, because that will lead you into Andre and Hogan WrestleMania 3. So that's how I'm kind of fancy booking these. He's having a little fun with it right now. So it's going to be a series. It's going to be a 12-part series. I'm going to see how it goes. It's going to take a while to put them all together. I want to put them all together first before I start airing them. But when I saw you had the picture of Undertaker and Sting, I was like, yeah, I'll promote what I'm doing on that. So
Yeah, that is good. Now, before we get out of here, this is one, and maybe it's because I'm a mark.
you are.
I love this guy. I loved everything he did, and the fact that one line in an interview buries this guy from Vince McMahon.
It does.
Just makes me. I'm glad he's making money, but what I'm disappointed in reality is that this guy never was a WWE champion. I mean, that guy had the look. He had the look, and I don't care what Vince McMahon. I thought he had all the charisma in the world. And same thing with Christian. I think he missed out on Christian as well.
If anything, this goes to another topic that I talked about when it was on yesterday's show. What are your expectations with the new guys, right? I mean, is it championship or bust? Does that make or break you if you don't hold the World Heavyweight title? I don't think so.
But because we know the business and we know what that is, the setup. But the other people who are fans, they will look at that whether it be when you look at those guys, put that thing back up. When you look at those guys, where's it at? There it is. When you look at them, I love J.D. McDonough. I love him because he is exactly what wrestling is in reality. But this guy is not one to be able to carry a championship. He'd be like you, what you say about Cody. He's a great chaser because he will do whatever it takes. And I'll tell you what the biggest part of why I like him is because exactly what he did with what's his nose before he got there, Finn Balor.
And looking at this, so I mean, I'll be honest. I see one of these guys possibly holding the World Heavyweight title or the WWE title. That's Trick Williams.
Well, I think he'll get it first. Don't see Ron Evans getting it. I see J.D. McDonough getting it for a storyline reason, but for him to hold. See, that's the thing. J.D. McDonough, he doesn't have to be great as far as titles are concerned. He just has to be that guy because he's slowly becoming Dominic Mysterio in reality. He just needs another hook for somebody to really hate him. I mean, Dom had everything. He had, the father, the Hall of Fame father that he was bashing and everything else, which was the key line for him to be where he is today. J.D. McDonough needs that storyline or that something that makes him that way to where he will even be bigger and better when he hits the ring. Again, not having to wear the championship. And there are many examples of guys who did not wear the championship that we can sit there and talk about all day long. Rowdy Piper should be the first one on most people's mind because everybody thought he was a world champion, and he wasn't.
Didn't need it.
Didn't need it.
No.
Exactly.
Okay, and going back to Cesaro or Claudio, this thing we talked about here, you're right. Vince did bury him. He does have a great look. He does have talent, but he's missing something. That's charisma. He doesn't have the charisma part. He's not going to put asses in seats. That's the problem. And as a champion, you are responsible for making people want to come see your show. You cannot be
without question.
You cannot be the heavyweight champion and be second tier. And he is, unfortunately, I'm not saying he's a B-rated player, but he is on that second tier holding strongly on that, by the way. But he's never on that elite level. He's never on that elite level of main event, no matter what, because
Was Christian?
Christian found it through his charisma. Let's face it. You don't compare each other's charisma. Christian and Cesaro, or I call him Cesaro. But
I had a Peep Show T-shirt.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, is that Christian can talk you into the building. Cesaro can't, or Claudio can't. And here's the thing: maybe he's not given the opportunity to do that. Maybe that's the booker. Maybe that's the people that are writing the show for him. Maybe that's not him going to them saying, "Hey, what else can I do?" Because time is ticking, and and if I can't get over here, and I couldn't get over there, now I might be able to get over there now because they have different ownership. But
I think that's the reason why they go get him.
Yeah, or do I do it? Or do I do a Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona?
Exactly.
And then go tour, go make go be former WWE and AEW superstar on everybody's poster, and make that money.
Yeah.
And then find out what works for you. And then come back, have Triple H or all them call them back up, a year, 2, 3, 4, however many years later on down the road. Hey, what do you say you want to come in here and be a part of our product? And hey, who knows? Sky's the limit. Again, I don't think he's ever gotten the sky's the limit talk by the promoters because he can't cut a promo.
Right.
I mean, I had a photo here earlier. Javon Evans, right? He's fun to watch. He's a human highlight reel. He's not main event material, though.
Oh, I agree, 100%. He just reminds me so much of Ricochet. Just drives me nuts.
Exactly, and that's what's going to be his downfall. Is that nobody is main eventing Ricochet. So why should we main event you? What difference? Again, are you bringing asses into the building? Are their kids lined up with your shirts on them? Or are they CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and Danhausen out right now? I mean, there's so many. I mean, look at Danhausen. He's a decent wrestler, but his charisma is so over.
Exactly.
And the thing is, he was at Comic-Con with CM Punk and AJ and Last LaRue and Rey Mysterio and Mr. Iguana, and people were focusing on him.
Yep.
Because he knows how to lure in the audience. He's a carny.
Interestingly enough, think about when he first made his debut. Everybody hated it, including me.
Yeah.
Why they brought this guy out of all? Maybe it's because I really wanted to see Jericho do the last ride over there. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe my expectations, being the mark I am, wanting somebody else to kind of make that. But man, it did not go over at all. Now look at it. It is so insane. It's down. It's Danhouse mania. More so than the first 2 weeks of him hitting the stage and everybody going, "What the is this?"
Yeah, and the thing is with the way the company books things, they are booking off of feel for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
but they're also booking off of, we know what can possibly last, and if something lasts longer than when we're ready for, we'll make the adjustments if we have to.
Well, how many kids showed up in the audience with the face painted?
Right, and again,
sometimes they just bitch slaps you and say, "We better do something with this."
Right, and the thing is, Cesaro or Claudio doesn't have that.
Yep.
And that's why I think professional wrestling has ruined him, because while he may be great in the ring, as I told everybody, nobody's paying to see you wrestle. They're paying to see you entertain them. And you might be the greatest wrestler of all time, but Daniel Bryan had personality to go with that.
Absolutely.
And
he's about one of those guys that are that small stature dude that was able to figure it out. Because there are a lot of small stature dudes that are, hey, listen, talented all around. But again, when you see and know what the business is, you've told Eli and others, you're not doing whatever it takes for people to get eyes on you, because let's be honest, it's really entertainment first, wrestling second. And if you don't have what it is to be entertaining, no one's going to give a shit about your wrestling at all.
If Claudio had come along at the same time Chris Benoit did, we might be seeing a different thing. Because Benoit didn't have charisma.
Explain that.
Okay, Chris Benoit, when he was in the ring wrestling, he hit hard. Clearly, he paid the price for it. But he hit hard. His stuff was high impact.
Yeah.
Cesaro could adjust to that kind of wrestling, and probably could have gotten over more so back then than he does now. And I think he missed his window of opportunity to hit the main event stature then. I think what happened to Benoit scared the shit out of other promoters, because are we doing anything to fix this? Because again, this can happen to any of our guys,
without question.
And
don't you think Cesaro was a victim of all the superstars that they actually did have in front of him?
Maybe so, but the thing is, a true main eventer can step out in front of that.
Yeah, but then again, once you get buried by Vince McMahon, you're that opportunity rolls away from you.
Shawn Michaels talks about this in one of his books, how he was standing in line when Hogan and the Warrior and Macho were all sitting there in front of Vince McMahon, and he walked. And this is right when he had that chance to break out as a single star, and he says, "Vince, what do I got to do to become the guy?" And Vince looked and says, "You just did it. You stepped out in front of everybody else to show me you can do it."
And he did it in front of everybody too.
And the thing is, people like Jordan Grace who don't see that. People like Bailey. People who we all sit there and wonder how come they never got that shot. Maybe they didn't do enough to get it. And not saying that they have to do it on TV. They got to do it backstage. They got to do it in front of the boss. They got to do it. They got to, you go up to Stamford, Connecticut one weekend and sit in the writing room with those guys. I'm sure they'd let you go in there and to say, well, how do we further me? What more can I do? Do I got to be a rosebud? Do I have to be this or that? Is that going back to her? Her problem is she's waiting on creative. When the thing is, creative might be waiting on her to come up with something. Because remember, she's built, better than both you and I for sure, right?
Yeah.
But she's also not necessarily 6'2".
Yeah, she's outside the scope and reality of what you see as far as superstars are concerned on the women's side in the WWE. I'm telling you right now, I only know of Jordan Grace because I watched TNA, and I always thought she was super. And then when we almost got the opportunity, I just couldn't wait for that, and then COVID hit and screwed that whole thing up at the Richardson Convention, Convention Center. But I was still able to go back and watch her and I'm just going to say she's not built for the WWE.
But here's the thing though. Rhea's out right now.
Right.
There is a spot for her if she just could get out of her head and get off the couch and say, this is what I want to do. Now, maybe she's done that. I don't know. But I'm just saying, from all accounts, we haven't seen her. Everybody says that they buried Royce Keys for the first 4 months before he got back on TV. I'm just saying they had to find a spot for him. They had to find it because, again, spots are limited. Reps are very limited. So in order for her or him to get that spot, something has to open up. An opportunity has to open up. Maybe you go to him and say, listen, me and Jacob Fatu, we've known each other for years. We're kind of family. Why not work that into the system? I mean, obviously I'm not Samoan, but we can definitely work into that. And they did.
Right.
And it got him at SummerSlam. So now Jordan Grace, who has been in the last couple of Rumbles, she has everything. Listen, I've been kind of, your TNA stalwart that's come to WWE to be on this thing. You've got Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Me here. Let's do something. Well, what do I need to do? Do I need to be a part of someone's lackey? Do I need to be someone's lackey right now? Do I need to be, the thing is, ego is a big thing in wrestling, big thing in all sports. Are you willing to minimize yourself for the greater good for down the road, or do you have to have it now? Otherwise, that spot might never come again.
Well, that all depends if creative is going to get in front of it too early, and we've seen that happen a lot. If creative says, well, this is, and as far as Jordan Grace is concerned, Jordan Grace has got everything that you need. But you talked about it. You have Rhea out. But the fact is that with Rhea out, and which, by the way, if you leave what's going on, she's going to be out for at least a good 6 months. You've got to take a look at why are the WWE not actually trying to get Bayley back in that spot? Because if someone's going to be able to fill it and put asses in the seats, it would be her. And that's why I'm so confused about where Bayley is regarding her contract negotiations compared to when they took her out in WrestleMania. From the year before that, they were saying she was the best thing to come along since Fruit Punch, if you believe what Triple H said.
Well, but here's the thing, though. There's other women. There's other girls who are coming up, too, right? And some, honestly, can do more than Bayley can do.
Well, that's true.
I mean, they're doing a lot in NXT, so they're coming up from the main roster. What?
Will they put asses in seats? Or at least the opportunity to do it?
You know what? And the only way you find out, you give them the opportunity to see if they can do it. And right now, Bayley, who maybe Crave doesn't know what to do with it right now. Making her world champion is not gonna put asses in seats, and making her chase for is not doing much. So maybe she needs to go away.
I'm telling you, I'm going to go in.
Or maybe go down to NXT, stay relevant. We go down to NXT and help those kids out.
I think this is a setup. I really do. I see Sasha Banks coming back. Whether it's
no, I don't see that at all.
I do. I do, because they're not. For them not to use Bayley or not to re-sign the contract, I think it's a big loss, because you can say whatever you want about Sasha Banks. That part was over. She was over. Big. You shake your head.
Over NXT, yes. Over in WWE, no.
Oh, I totally disagree with you. I watched it because of her, and I don't think I was very far of it.
You're not in the live crowd. Here's the thing. Over there in Orlando, in the NXT Center, or the NXT Performance Center, she was over big time. No doubt about it. When they put her in Madison Square Garden, the crowd could have cared less. And that's what makes or breaks you in the WWE is Madison Square Garden. So
I will give you that. But if you don't think that she was over just because she was at Madison and no one did it, I think you would be fooling yourself. They don't put the belt back on her as many times as they did if she didn't get over. How she got over was irrelevant, and part of it was with the Bayley situation. There's no question there was.
She's one of those performers where the belt makes her.
Yes.
She doesn't.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. But then again, then you run into Bret Hart. Then you run into Hulk Hogan. Then you run into problems if they don't have the title. Why don't they have the title? Then you have to deal with that drama. And again, if you're as good into the chase as you are as being champion, you're over. People are going to love you. People love Sammy regardless if he's champion or not. Or they love to hate him, whichever it is. I mean, the thing is, whether.
By the way, I just saw him in that.
You're really pissing me off. You know that? You're really pissing me off.
Well, this is my show, and I'll interrupt when I want. I just wanted you to know because you gave me so much shit about not seeing it. I finally seen him
That's
in
my
the
show.
bad guy role. Yeah, the bad.
No, you're fine. No, I mean,
Any, I did see Sami Zayn, and way I love that Sami Zayn more so than the babyface. I love that one better. I
right.
just love.
So I mean, the thing is that I don't see them bringing Sasha back because Sasha would want way too much, and there's too much younger talent who I think can do a better job than she can. I think that they're more invested.
Maybe.
I think they're more invested with what they brought up to what they've had before, and
Well, they've got a lot of money in it, just like they had a lot of money in Sasha Banks. But
right.
you say it all the time. You go away, then come back, you remake yourself. How does she have to remake herself in order for her to get that? Now, let's just say she comes back. There's going to be a good portion of the audience that is going to love and still love Sasha Banks. Okay, you're still going to have that, but the question is how much are they going to be able to get more people involved with her? And that's why I think the Bailey situation with her pulling them both together, then they both get up and get over, and they have to be heel. They can't be the love thing. If they go heel with both of them, I think they're money.
This is what I'm thinking. Like, they took a gamble bringing back CM Punk because they knew
right.
They knew the relationship back then. They knew that if we're going to get the same Phil we had 10 years ago, or we're going to get the guy who's on his last leg and whatever else, right? He came back. What's your screen all blurry?
What? That's my chair.
Blurry. Oh. No, your screen is
blurry. My screen's blurry.
I mean, you're ugly as hell, but now you're like blurring out.
No, but it's your internet. Remember where you are, pal.
I'm good right now. So
yeah, you're still in Oklahoma.
Mr. on 5G. Okay, whatever. Listen to me, 5G Clark. But the thing is, he was able to come back, and the response he got in his hometown had never been heard before. And then not only that followed him to the next night, it followed him the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And now look at him. How many people out there in professional wrestling right now have that ability to draw that much?
I agree.
And
I think there's
Bailey, if Bailey went away, whether she goes to AEW or she goes on her own, whatever those, if she came back, she could be the next CM Punk for the women. I say that for the women because women's wrestling has always been kind of a niche thing, and it's not necessarily. I mean, let's face it, you can have a wrestling show have nothing but guys on there, and only the females are gonna fucking bitch about it, whereas most guys aren't. Vice versa. If you have a show all women, everybody seems to be on top of it. All right, way to go, good for them. Whatever. So it's all.
Why do you think they don't do that women's revolution every year?
Right. I mean, you have to want it. You have to make it matter. And I think for Bailey right now, now she appeared on a live event not too long ago, so she's still with the company.
I saw that match actually.
I mean, she's still working under contract, so
yeah,
so that's all well and good. But if she decides to up and leave, I'm pretty sure CM Punk's been in her ear saying, "Don't go there. It's not what you think it is." I mean, if you're here, you're protected. You're there, you're not. And that's a guy who.
What does that mean, by the way?
Huh?
What does that mean, by the way? You're protected or you're not protected?
That means the company.
I think I know, but I want to hear you say it.
Okay. That means if you go to AEW, the former WWE superstar, they will not look out for your best interest. They will not protect you from their people.
Okay.
WWE has a system in place. Triple H, Nick Khan, all the writers, Tyson Kidd. All of them will sit there and look out for her best interest. Natty will sit there and look out for her best interest if she has to. Because, again, that's a support system that you can succeed with. You go over there, just because your buddy's over there, doesn't mean you're going to succeed. It means you might have some fun. It means you might be able to do some things on TV.
Because she
that
don't
you
have
couldn't do
no
there.
traction, though.
Interrupting me.
Yeah.
But no, it's just one of those things where you have to. I mean, you have to think with your head. They might pay you a shitload of money, and that's all well and good. Go get your money. But understand that if you come here, you're protected. You go over there, you're in a whole different world. You can't be Bailey anymore.
That's another thing. What is she going to go over to AEW as? Obviously, because she can't go by Bailey. What's her real name? Do you know it?
I don't know.
Cappy TT, or no? But I think wrestling right now, as far as the business is concerned, is at a crossroads in reality. Go ahead. What's her name?
Pamela Rose Martinez.
No, that's not going to do it.
She can go back there as Rose.
Don't know.
Pam Martinez. Or 1 second on the independent scene. She can go back under her independent wrestling name.
What was that?
I'll tell you if you shut the fuck up.
Oh, I just asked.
Well, you don't give me a chance to talk. Jesus. Davina Rose.
What is it?
Davina Rose.
Savina?
Davina. Listen.
Davina.
Yeah, Davina.
No.
It's not bad. And again, it's a name that AEW can really take and run with.
I don't know. I don't like it. But then again, what do I know? Obviously I've got the millions of dollars to promote the damn thing.
I mean, by the way, I'm upset we never got to this one. I worked hard on this one too.
That was funny.
Yeah.
As far as the picture is concerned, that is classic, by the way.
I'm fine.
But interestingly enough, I got a take on that.
Yeah.
What's your take? Let me see what your take is on this. On this story, anyway.
I mean, it's car crash, right? So I mean, I don't know how the car crash happened, but I'm pretty sure what happened. Look, he's going to be limited. I mean, he'll have to sit there and kind of watch from afar.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
He probably can't get in someone's ass and right now that team needs somebody getting their ass and kind of tell them how things need to be right now, because that team was worse than Dallas was last year. So that tells you where that team.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I mean, record wise they were.
Well, just a kick in the pants, and plus you got that team still seems to be able to perform without their superstars, which is hard to do. Okay. And they still are able to win some games. Obviously, when you don't have your premier players in your lineup, you're not going to be the same team. You're not going to be you're not going to be the same premier team that you are. However, Shanahan is the one that makes that work. My theory, my thinking, this is not really a good thing. This is actually a really bad thing. Now, granted, car accident, whatever, it just depends on what the magnitude of that car accident has on his head. Because I'm going to tell you, if that guy had any kind of concussion or any kind of thing going on,
concussion, never.
I know he got lots of stitches on his arm. By the way, that did happen. But I don't know about the head situation. Do you know?
I have no idea. I don't know if if he was concussed. I don't know if
because this was a couple of days ago and no one hit them. Normally that would be in the newsreel, man. They covered that pretty well. I don't know how that happened.
it may not be as bad as we think it is, and they're just gonna.
Basically, he had something on his arm. They had like a bunch of stitches they had to put on his arm. His hand
that's
is
his arm. That's not his head.
I'm just saying.
He's fine.
You say that, and I'm telling you, I would normally agree with you.
You should.
Normally. But what I'm saying, there's a possibility of the mental portion getting in the way, whether it be because of the concussion or whether he's able to actually get up and over it. And you can say what you want about a lot of guys, but sometimes they didn't get up and over it, and they weren't no good.
First of all, this is why he wears a headset on the sideline and listens to the other coaches tell him what play to run. I don't think that's going to limit his ability to coach from afar.
You honestly think that's what's happening all the time as far as the success of that team is concerned? Do you really?
What happens on Sunday? What happens on Sundays when they're out there on the field? Coach wears a headset. He gets signal calls from the head coach, or from the assistant coaches. That's relayed to the football players. They make their adjustments to the line. Coach is there and goes, if he wants to call an audible, he can call an audible. If he wants to sit there and make certain changes, he can. He has a support system around him to help him with that. So if he's banged up, so if he's banged up, if he can't coach at 100%, which I'm not sure what that means, but if he can't, be the ideal Sonny coach we need him to be, he's got other people around him to do it. Okay.
I'm saying congratulations, but that guy still runs that team. Him and John Lynch run that football team. Period. You can have as much love as you want about with the assistant coaches and how great they are and how they communicate great. That means jack shit when it comes to what's going to actually happen out on the football field in reality.
Fine. Look at the Detroit Lions.
What about them?
Well, they lost their two head coaches, and did that hamper them last year?
I'll agree with you. I'm not saying that those assistant coaches aren't important. I'm saying Kyle Shanahan is different. And the only reason why I think that is because when I look at what Kyle Shanahan's done over the years, over the years without guys and without what's going on, this is I'm taken away from the assistant coaches in reality, but the simple fact of the matter is you're talking about a guy that really has control of his team more so than they're there. But I think more of that is coming from Shanahan and Lynch, more so than anybody.
I think this is where
he might be the one of only a few that I would say that would be that way.
Right, and don't you think that the assistant coaches know this and go, listen, coach, we know you're banged up. We know you got some things going on. We got this. You're here to be here. We get this. Let us help you out in this process. So if we help you in the process, then if things go wrong, don't blame on us. That's fine. But right now, we get your situation. You're not 100%, and can you stay on the sideline on a regular basis? We all know how this is going to really impact you. So let us take the reins for you when it matters. And you're still our coach. You're still our figurehead. You're still the guy in charge. But on the field, during times where we need to get our team together and tell them and get in their ass and tell them what's wrong and what's right and what we can do to change things, make those adjustments when we have to make them. Let us do our job. And you do your job and just be the figurehead, because that's what a head coach in the NFL generally is. Now, they have I mean, they have to light a fire under their players' ass sometimes, but sometimes the assistant coach have to do it too. You don't think the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator is lighting a fire underneath their asses over there? He's killing it over there right now, and Schottenheimer's loving it because he didn't have that last year. Yeah, Eberflus sitting there going, I used to coach in the NFL. I don't know where I'm at now.
Yeah, but the difference between Schottenheimer and Shanahan, it's two different worlds. I mean, you have to admit that. It's
Not
simple.
really.
Okay.
But both of them are coaches' sons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are coaches' sons. Both of them come from a very long lineage of winning, in a sense. And both want to outdo what their dad did. So they're kind of the same guy. The thing is, Shanahan's had more time to do it. And Shanahan took over the team that his dad had at one time.
Okay.
So
outside of the Dallas Cowboys, who would have hired him?
Exactly. But that doesn't matter. It
does matter because
that's not what we're questioning right now. All we're saying is they're relatively the same person. That one's had more chances, the other one hasn't. So now that they're both on the same playing field, and let's face it, get down to record-wise, last year Schottenheimer had a better record than Kyle Shanahan. I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but I'm saying they're both in the same type of system for coaches who are still. Now, Shanahan's had more success because he had more years. But Brian Schottenheimer, I mean, how he does this year, does he have a better regular season? Does he win a playoff game? Who knows? We'll wait and see. But I think this is where, going back to Shanahan, this is where the assistant coaches need to really, buckle down and say, listen, we know you're banged up. We know you got some issues. We're not asking you to step aside, but at least let us do our job. Let us
just wondering if he can.
You know what? He may have a choice, depending if he's got brain issues right now.
Good point. That's what I think about when I see that. Now, granted, Shanahan doesn't have the Super Bowl rings, but he's been in the game. So you say whatever you want about who he is. He at least got him to the show.
Right.
Right now, Shanahan. Listen, I hope Shanahan can be that guy that breaks the mold. And that is a young guy that can go in who has zero expectations going into that job. Because I know I didn't. I know a lot of people didn't think that this would work. The fact he was able to do what he did last year, I sure in the hell hope he's able to do even more. Just for the fact, not because I want to see the Dallas Cowboys win. I want to see someone break the mold. And when someone breaks that mold, he's going to be a superstar and he will be on people's radar as far as the head coach is concerned.
Right. And the thing is, time will only tell. I mean, you can't just judge it off of one season.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, if we did that, we would be wondering about how the quarterback is doing down in Houston after 1 year.
Right. But at the same time, like, look at the Seahawks coach, right? Came in, took over a team, and took them to the promised land.
Yep.
So I'm
still amazed at that. I'm still amazed. And that's what I want to see. I want to see that kind of stuff. Just normally you don't. So it was nice to see last year. First year coach going in. First of all, getting to the Super Bowl was huge, but winning the damn thing, amazing. So and I don't care what you want to say about defense wins championships and everything. Sam Darnold was a big part of that in reality, whether it was not just that game or just getting them there. I mean, Sam Darnold, I'm telling you right now, I hate to admit I pounded that guy, but the last 3 years he's proven to be, not only in my eyes, but numbers wise, if you look at him for the last 3 years, that guy's been on fire better than some of the big names that were out there. So you got to keep it real. It looks like that maybe it could happen again, but maybe not. Who knows? I love the breaking of the mold.
Okay, I have a problem here.
With
It's a serious problem, and only you can fix this.
okay.
Where is Mr. Duval at? I know I see the picture, but where's the video?
No, I took it out by accident. I took it out by accident, and I just haven't got it back in. Yeah.
Bro.
So, but yeah, the fact is, I wanted to take the picture out, not the video. So I just did it.
This is total BS.
Absolutely, that one's me and. By the way, that mine and Obi's. That's her favorite one right there. But I'm glad you're doing it. I just haven't thought about doing it there.
Well,
But
because I figure you start rambling on and on and on, you won't shut up. So I have to kind of throw these in there to get you to kind of just take a step
I'm
back.
just talking.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You can't.
Anyway, we did 3.5. We did good. Holy shit, 3.5.
3.5. Oh,
It's good to see Cuervo. Miss Cuervo. I see you all the time. I miss Cuervo.
And you should be so lucky.
That just all depends on who you ask.
Or who we thought they were.
That's my second favorite, just to get under somebody's skin. But yeah, I probably shouldn't have given you the reins in order for you to do it. Although you are doing a good job. Hey, by the way, thank you for the pictures. They're better than mine. I just steal them. You create them, I steal them.
Yeah,
So,
it's only thing a chance to talk about.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Look at those names. There's one on there that should blow your mind. You're kind of wondering how the hell he was up there in 2023.
Well, 2020, how the Deshaun Watson's up there.
Well, that's it, and that was the year that the Cleveland Browns thought they were going to find their savior. But look who's next to him. In 2019. Good Lord. But I love the names. I mean, and only one's on there twice. So,
two different teams.
Two different teams. Yep. Interestingly enough. But anyway, Matthew Stafford, interestingly enough, if they don't get this up and going, the guy that's taken the punishment for this, okay, James Cook is super bad. He needs to continue to be super bad because he's going to be the first scapegoat if he doesn't have a good season on why Josh Allen didn't get there. So that was my take up on that when I saw that. I hope he does. I hope he brings a new energy. I hope he's able to do what he's been able to do for the last few years, per se, for people to recognize who he is.
That's cool. Well, I mean, this is the Bills' make or break year. They better do something quick.
I agree.
Because
the window's closing, baby.
I think this is the year. If they can't do it this year, I think you're going to see a lot of people walking.
You know who I think is going to be a thorn in the side? Just thinking, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be a tough out, and that's going to be hard. If Joe Burrow can stay healthy, I think the Bengals are going to be their biggest problem this year.
Well, also Burrow needs to keep his receivers healthy too. So that's the other.
That too.
Because that really hampers him. Because you take away his weapons, he's an average quarterback, and that's not a shot at him. Because again, I mean, you took away Troy Aikman's weapons, he was an average quarterback. So, I mean, it does happen that way sometimes. I mean.
And one of the big things that when people look at quarterbacks, they want you to be able to take that average dude and make him somebody. And I think I agree with you to a certain extent regarding Joe Burrow. He's got the superstars in place. The question is can he bring somebody else that is not considered that superstar and make him that superstar? Guy that did that the most was Peyton Manning. You talk about the wide receivers, like, who the hell was that? Yeah, that was because he was able to do it. And, through the years. He was just able to bring some guys up there, and outside of Marvin Harrison, I mean, I'm telling you right now, Austin, I forget his name. I remember his first name because it was Austin. And he had a funny last name, not a regular last name. But the guy was a tight end. He made him a superstar. Just,
Pendleton?
Huh?
Pendleton?
No. I'll remember it now. We'll bring it in next week, but because it's here, but not getting there. So, but
Tight end. Also, we'll find out for real quick.
For the Colts.
Tight end named Austin.
For the Colts with Peyton Manning.
Okay, we have an active veteran, Austin Hooper.
No.
Austin Seraphine Jenkins.
No.
Austin Allen. Austin Fort. Austin Trailer.
No. I might even have the wrong first name wrong, but he leaned on him big time, especially when players were hurt.
What team did he play for?
The Colts.
The Colts. Okay.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Tight ends.
I mean, he may have been a receiver, but I thought he was a tight end.
The Colts. You get your shit together there, sir. Okay.
Well, we're off on a tangent, so it's not like I knew we were going to talk about this.
Well, we have Tyler Warren, Mo Alley Cox. Sounds great. Drew Ogletree, Will Mallory, Dallas Clark.
And my computer is running as slow as me.
Boys.
But he was just a name that just no one ever really heard of. And then before he was done, and he was nothing without him either, which is, kind of one of those things.
We got Pat Beach. We got
Let me just
Kerry
check.
Cash. We got Dallas Clark. Ken Digler. Marcus Pollard. That's all I got here. No.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I just can't remember the dude's name.
Hold on a second. Let's try for wide receivers for the Colts.
I already checked it and I didn't see it. At least the guy I'm thinking of. But there's a couple of guys that obviously Dallas Clark, being that he was on the other side. God, I'm almost sure he was on the other side of Dallas Clark as far as the wide receivers or the tight ends were concerned.
Was it Tavon Austin?
Tavon Austin. No, he was a wide receiver. However, Tavon Austin became a guy that that's the point. No one knew who Tavon Austin was. I mean, for God's sake. Gosh, now that might bother me before I even go to bed.
Calvin Austin?
No.
Miles Austin?
No.
Austin, Texas?
I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
I moved on by then.
But I ran into because when I think of there's two guys and they were nobodies in reality, and when they played with them, there's two guys I'm thinking of. I can't remember their name. That just goes to show he made them a name for the time that they were going on. I'm old people, so I forget shit easily. But for what he was able to do, Austin Collie.
Collier.
Yeah. Never even heard of this.
What was
Austin Collie.
Collar or Collie?
Collie. But just think about it though. Stokely as well was another guy. He didn't do anything, worth a nickel, and Pathon was another guy. See, he got those guys to stand up and be as great as they can be, and then once that relationship with Peyton Manning was over, you hardly ever heard of him. That's why I can't remember Austin Collie's name. He was great when he played with Peyton Manning.
But he wasn't memorable.
No, but that's not the point. The point is that he was able to step up. He was a guy. Peyton Manning was able to make this guy, and believe me, when the time was going on, everybody knew who Austin Collie was.
Okay.
I'm just saying, during the times that he played, they knew exactly who it was. Here it is. I mean, and remember, you got Marvin Harrison on your football team. You got Tavon Austin as well. But this guy was putting up 7 to 8 touchdowns in 2010, 2009. Okay? 649 yards, 679 yards. Those are big step-ups for people who have never even heard of this dude. And there's one other guy, I'll remember who it is, but that is what Peyton Manning was able to do. He targeted Austin Collie 98 times in 2011. Now, granted, he only had 1 touchdown in that season. He got hurt in 2010, but he still had 8 touchdowns. So that's just what Peyton Manning was capable and able to do. I'll do that. I'll do a little research on that.
Can you imagine what Peyton Manning could know with Alvin Harper?
Oh gosh, yeah, he'd be even bigger than what he is.
Yeah.
Hell, I even know he's, that way. Superstar, Alvin Harper. I love Alvin Harper.
Yeah. So. Him and Kenny Gant live next to each other in Carrollton.
Who?
Him and Kenny Gant live next to each other in Carrollton. The Shark. Number 29 for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't know
they live right next door to each other in Carrollton.
Was that near you?
Yeah, because they were off Frankfurt Road, and me and my dad were heading to the Cowboy Thanksgiving game against Miami. The game they haven't played in the snow, and we were following Kenny Gant to the stadium. And,
gotcha.
My dad looked at me like saying, "That motherfucker's crazy. He's just driving like crazy." He's like, "Well, he probably lives in Florida, so I don't think he's ever had to deal with snow before."
So that's going to do it for us. I mean, now 3 hours.
We got so much more to talk about.
No, we don't.
So much.
Mainly because I'm tired. I'm tired. You're
Sonny,
lucky I came on today.
Sonny, how would you book this match? Come on.
I when you put that up the first time, I asked myself, how would I be able to book that match? I wouldn't even have a clue. They're 2 iconic figures that you would have to have a problem with, figure out a dispute per se.
I would almost think you have to have almost a best out of 3 series. Like you have 1 match at Madison Square Garden, 1 match at the Omni, and then 1 match at a neutral site. So at least you give the Undertaker fans the Madison Square Garden kiss. You give the Atlanta fans the Sting kiss. Then you go to a neutral site, Saudi Arabia or whatever, and you play it out there, and then what happens.
Who do you think is who would you say is the bigger superstar of the 2?
Oh, I say for sure Undertaker.
I think so too.
Sting was the big fish in the small pond.
Yes, that's a good way to say that. And he did it in multiple promotions too.
Yeah. So, whereas Taker was he was a giant in a giant company. So, I mean, I think that's where you draw the line between not so much good and great, but as far as how elite one is over the other one. And I think that's more of this opportunity for Taker. Sting had those opportunities. He chose to stay where he was at. I think that hampered how WWE fans can look at his career and go,
I totally agree with you.
I mean, you know, and because, again, the reason why Vince never booked the match, because how could he book it and not appease everybody?
Right. And another thing in reality, I get what Sting was doing regarding that. I get it. But at the same time, you know, they used to say in the WCW days that who's making Sting money? That's your big fish in small
All
pond.
that went out the window once Hogan showed up.
Without question. There is no question about that.
And then Sting wasn't making Sting money at that time.
No. In fact, I think I heard Bischoff say it almost went to half in reality, if I remember.
It also goes back to the thing of, you know, Sting had to change from the Surfer Sting to the Crow Sting because he had to evolve one way or the other.
Right.
And that's where I think the Undertaker parallel comes into place, because I think you could do much more with Crow Sting than you could with Surfer Sting against Taker. Because you've had Surfer Sting versus Mark Callis.
Right. Well, yeah.
Those matches. But as far as the Taker doing his thing, yeah, I mean Taker 15 years ago and Sting 15 years ago. You can't do it today because that wouldn't be good at all. But because obviously Sting, I mean, the real Sting would probably whip his ass because Taker can't move very well. He's too busy being El Jefe in AAA. So, but no, I mean, I'm going to create a story with that and kind of tell it in a way to where it's going to be fun. And, you know, again, that's going to be part of the Podfather channel, which, by the way, you can check out on the my YouTube channel. 396 subscribers, folks.
He's working his ass off. Look at him.
It's not bad for someone who has very little to work with and doing the best I can with it. But no, I've
never what it's about, man. It's never what it's ever been about with me in reality. So
well, I mean, you know, we have shows like the WWE's Takeover of Hollywood, where we recast classic movies with WWE superstars, not to make them better, just to see who would play who. I'm putting Sonny to sleep. Everybody,
no, you know, we did 3 hours. I was looking for that nap.
Now you understand why during football season, where I'm glad when Dallas has a 3 o'clock game, because I'm taking a nap between that 12 to 3 game.
Yeah, not me. I'm going to do that. All right. Well, that is going to do it. I'm ready to lay it down for a couple hours, and then
I think we need to illustrate more about this move right here. He's taking
we're just fine. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. By the way, this one's good. I didn't even see that. I usually hear about most of what you put up. I didn't even hear about this. So, by the way, who broke this? Who said that?
I don't know. I saw the meme and I understood in the ChatGPT say make this.
Oh, so you don't know if it's even a real statement? Then you just went with the meme.
Well, it's a real statement. That's something he would say. But
that is definitely something he would say. Now, whether or not he actually said it, you know.
Well, here's the thing: he's old. He might forget that he said it. So I mean, you have to let that one
go. He probably didn't. He wouldn't deny it. That's for sure.
I mean, I got this thing 17. It's gonna be awesome.
We'll know about the time for next Sunday, is whether if Cuervo can be here. If not, we'll kick it off at this same time. If it's early, we'll do it early. We'll find that out hopefully fairly soon. Outside of that, Father, always good to see you. We will talk to everybody.
Come on, we gotta talk about this award right here. This guy, the Ryan Kennedy Guy Hall of Fame Award.
And have yourself
a great
day. Take care. Bye bye.